videos on Infowars.com. We're going to play it right now. Trump, after the speech, says he will 100% release the FISA memo. He said, we've got to. You'd be so angry if we didn't. The question is, when will he release it? Well, the word is they're looking to do it Monday. But here's the president after the victorious State of the Union that even has Democrats in their own skewed polls at 70 to 75% in support of the speech.
Great speech, let's release the memo. Oh, yeah. Oh, don't worry. 100%. Can you imagine that?
Yes, sir.
Last year, he'd be too angry.
How you doing?
How's it going? How's it shaking?
So very, very exciting. We've got some bad news, though, and hopefully this is just a real accident, and hopefully it's not sabotage. Town Hall is reporting train-carrying lawmakers to GOP retreat involved in an accident. The annual Republican retreat is set to take place Wednesday in White Sulphur Springs with many top Republican leaders. West Virginia, however, there appears to have been an accident as the lawmakers were en route. News, per a GOP aide via a member of the train carrying members of Congress, the GOP retreat just had some kind of accident. Said people seem to be okay, but there appear to be some injuries. Here's another one being reported. The train carrying GOP lawmakers to a retreat in West Virginia has collided with a dump truck. Initial reports indicate everything is okay. Just like hashtag Hunt Republicans and Congressman Scalise getting shot. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not a cheerleader for political parties or leaders. I'm a cheerleader for the truth. And Trump over-delivered in the last year. The American people have awakened. We've over-delivered as well. The speech was true grit. It was from the heart. It was direct. It was truthful. It was strong. And it was empowering. It was buoying. And the response by the Democratic Party, Bernie Sanders' video feed cutting out for 90% of the time, is very emblematic, an archetypal of socialism. The other Democrat leader's response spit all over his face like a demonic heathen. All of it is incredible. And to then see MSNBC say, this is terrible, ladies and gentlemen. They talked about families, and we don't have families anymore. They actually said that. Drudge is linked to our article, MSNBC's Joy Reid, triggered by Trump using the word family, church, family, police, military, the national anthem, Trump trying to call on all of the tropes of the 1950s era nationalism. The goal of his speech appears to be to force the normalization of Trump on the terms of a bygone era his supporters are nostalgic for. So family, church, security, prosperity, that's a bygone era. And then you understand they're targeting families because they want you all alone, and it's in their own textbooks. We're being managed by the psychological warfare chiefs who are totally cold-blooded. They're not leftist loons. They're creating mental patients in the colleges. They're creating dysfunctional people that have to be in a system that can't make it on their own to then hold the rest of us hostage. And they're so honest about it now. Trump and InfoWars and all of you, we have forced this debate out in the open. And they're like, listen, you're not going to have prosperity and you're not going to have families. And you're not allowed to have it. I mean, at every major school in the country now, that gets federal dollars under Obama's behavior. The government just doesn't tell your kids what they're going to eat. You can't say mom or dad, father or mother, or he or she on the entrance forms. I mean, that's cult level when you can't say, I'm a man, I'm a woman, because that could hurt somebody else's feelings. This is high-level psychological warfare to make us all alone, plugged into the matrix. We'll be back with incredible excerpts from this amazing speech. Stay with us. Well, to say that I am poleaxed, to say that I'm dizzied, to say that I'm basically speechless is a understatement by the State of the Union speech, and just everything setting in for me personally and my parents that I watched it with my wife and children last night. Because you've got the best of worlds But you've also got the worst of it, the tale of two cities. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. We were all going straight to heaven. We were all going directly to hell. It was feast or famine. You are seeing such honesty, such directness, such true grit, such courage and delivery in 1 year. And then you've got the Democrats like howling lunatics frothing and uncloaking and saying, basically, don't criticize MS-13 or you're a racist, or I don't want to hear about family and church. That's all gone. You're not going to have that anymore. And you realize that Bernie Sanders, who was one of the people that responded to this last night as a Democrat response, honeymooned in the Soviet Union in Moscow back in the 70s, when you had to basically be a Russian agent to even go there. I mean, it's just incredible. And then they turn around and say, we are the anti-Americans, when the country is just turbocharging back. It's so clear how bad they are. And, of course, most of Sanders' response cut out emblematically because socialism doesn't work except for the dirtbags that want to control everybody. So we're going to be getting back to that in a moment. But watching Trump's speech, and we're going to air large segments of it today, and in the 4th hour, right into the war room, we're going to re-air the whole thing. So coming up in the 4th hour into the war room that starts with Owen and others, we're going to just air the whole thing in pieces today because it's incredible. And the fight we've been through, and the battles we've been through, and the victories and the defeats and the blood, sweat, and tears, and then you have victory and to know the memos coming out. And Trump said he's going to 100% release it in the next few days, I think Monday at the latest. And it's just incredible that we're in the middle of this epic historical battle. And Trump's right when he said, this is the new American moment. This is like Martin Luther King, I Have a Dream speech that changed so many hearts and minds. It's like Washington crossing the Delaware and the next day having victory at Trenton, the first victory over the Hessians and the British troops. It's like the flag getting raised at Iwo Jima by the Marines. What it symbolizes is we're back. We understand who the enemy is. We understand who's showing all the race war garbage, who's injecting the poison, who's venomous, who's bad, who's been holding us down, who's been sending all our jobs to communist China as Democrat fat cats sitting over the slave factories. I mean, these people are bad news, and they've got a playbook. Van Jones doesn't believe a word he says. Gutierrez, when he heard USA, USA, ran out like it was a vampire and the sun had risen. Because he's funded by the Ford Foundation to come turn Hispanics into anti-American racists and then break the country up. That's the globalist plan, to steal the American dream from America that's 50% Hispanic already below the age of 25. And within another decade, it'll be 50% total. And if you look by year 2050, some projections are like 70%. You are having the birthright of free market and Second Amendment and all this stolen from you by people funded by the Ford Foundation, the Rockefeller Foundation, the Carnegie Foundation, like Mr. Gutierrez, who is on record, and he wants everybody watching to know you can't say USA, USA. The Ninth Circuit wants you to know you can't have American flags on, because that's evil. You can't have a family. You can't have an identity. You can't have anything. And so why this was so powerful is that it shows we were being suppressed by design. 1 year in, things are turning around. The patient's getting better. And you've got these globalists trying to squat on America and suppress us. It is unparalleled. Trump's whole speech is about unity and nationalism and pride and families. And Gutierrez says it's explicitly racist. See, that's the inversion of reality. It's Gutierrez that's Mecha and La Raza. Do I have to tell people what La Raza and Mecha's slogans are? For those in the race, everything. For those outside the race, nothing. It's the same as the KKK. Now, let's continue here. And you don't think people in the KKK think they're good. Well, these folks think they're good, too. They're brainwashed into it when they're born by these leftist families. They're sent to colleges that teach it because the man wants that taught at the colleges, because the big banks and the Ford Foundation, the Carnegie Foundation, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, they're the big one now, fund those liberation theology studies. Bill Gates doesn't want Hispanics to be Americans and to have that birthright. He wants to steal it from you. But let me get to the big news here. It's on drudgereport.com, and it illustrates everything that I am talking about here. And we'll put that article up on screen for me. MSNBC's Joy Reid triggered by Trump using the word family. Just like I remember 15 years ago, I couldn't believe it when I was given a Calhoun reader from the University of Texas that all social workers were taught from. And it said, the family belongs to a bygone era. They even use the same term, and is prehistoric. They use that term as well, and must be eradicated. That's pure communism, like North Korea. Okay? That was the goal in 1984, was to break the families up. And then here she is, church, family, police, military, the national anthem, Trump trying to call on all tropes of the 1950s era. Yeah, passing the Civil Rights Act, all that. Defeating Hitler. The goal of his speech appears to be to force the normalization of Trump on the terms of the bygone era his supporters are nostalgic for. Church, family. Again, think of how wicked that is. And then here's Joy Reid. Let's play a clip of her. Last night responding, saying MS-13, only people that watch Fox News know what that is. No, if you're in Guatemala or Mexico or in all 50 states of this country and you are in a Hispanic predominant area, in a poor area, you are being fed on and robbed, and your children are being recruited by absolutely crazed maniac death worshipers that worship the Grim Reaper, okay? And are responsible for over 150,000 people dead, a lot of those dead, in Mexico. But she just says it doesn't exist, and Gutierrez says it's racist. No. People with satanic tattoos all over them running around murdering people is a big problem. Producing methamphetamine, and again, almost all the people they prey on are other Hispanics because they're underclass, they're being exploited by the Democratic Party and big Republican company owners, and they're this permanent underclass, and MS-13 is right there squatting on them, and here's this lady saying, oh, it's not an issue. Here she is.
The defining issue of the Trump administration thus far is how he got into office. It consumes Donald Trump's time. It is an obsession, if you believe all of the reporting in the Michael Wolff book, and even not beyond the Michael Wolff book. He spends his time complaining about the prosecutors who are investigating Russian interference, conspiring to fire them, thinking about them, obsessing about them. And then he gives a speech tonight in which he makes it sound like the biggest issue in the United States, the biggest threat is MS-13, a gang nobody that doesn't watch Fox News has ever heard of. So he makes it sound like they're the biggest.
We're going to break. That is the biggest Latin American gang operating in North America that has killed hundreds of thousands of people total. I got to tell you, my head is spinning right now. We've never had so much news. Amazing speech by the president, delivering in the last year, promising to deliver even more, taking the chains off of America, talking about unity. Yeah, even skewed Democrat-run polls had him at 70, 75, 76, 78. And that's the poll that came out everywhere when it was phone polls, computerized polls, you name it. And they are just freaking out right now because they're even oversampling Democrats still in those polls, and they are getting 70% or higher. That is red level panic for them. And you've got Democrats running out of there when they hear USA chants, when he says America's back, our industry's back, our families are back. It's like, ah! And then, you know, Democrats running out because you can't say USA, and then other Democrats on MSNBC going, you can't talk bad about MS-13, and the Washington Post has come out and said that too. And, don't talk about families, don't talk about church. That's all gone. You can't have that. You cannot make this up. These people are such villains. And then, this is breaking, Paul Ryan was on board the train carrying lawmakers, a whole bunch of lawmakers, to a high-level GOP retreat. A truck, kamikaze rammed it, a cement truck, a big truck, a dump truck, kamikaze rammed it. And Paul Ryan was on board. There's one dead, a bunch of people injured. But what's the odds of this? No, this is a message. You better believe it. And they're going to spin it and try to, oh, it's no big deal. Everything's fine. Oh, Vegas isn't Islamic. And of course, it's come out it has. And, oh, there's not multiple shooters. This is a serious message. Very serious message that we can get you anywhere you are. You go to your baseball practice, we're going to shoot you. We're going to come after your family. Rammed the front of the train, killing the driver and derailing part of the train. I mean, this is amazing. So this country is in a civil war. You can believe this was on purpose. I mean, I'd say 98% chance that this is unbelievable. You had 2 miles away in Washington, Antifa meeting with videos and police raids saying they were going to derail trains at that exact place and derailing a train a month before. But nobody, it wasn't a passenger train. And then they go, oh, the driver admits that he missed the speed limit and just went ahead and went too fast around there. Yeah, whatever. I mean, this is getting ridiculous. So GOP train collision in Virginia. And Rand Paul's talking about it on Fox News right now. Let's fade up some of this audio if we can, please.
No, and then I guess over time, people will have to investigate these things and figure out, you know, are there sensors on the train that the engineer should know there's a truck, you know, a mile in advance that's on there? Did it happen in an instant?
It's such a great question, considering, you know, right at this hour, Sandra, we have covered our share of train accidents.
It's unbelievable.
You know, I mean, it's the lunch hour on the East Coast, and so you have a lot of activity, but it is unbelievable.
Yeah, and we've got the video up on Infowars.com. I really want to get into all of the amazing clips and the speech itself, and then what the Democrats are up to, just illustrating that they're as bad as we thought they were, and they're even worse. I mean, they are just committed to division, committed to evil, committed to dominating and controlling and being manipulators, being villains, being crooks. There are so many people who think being evil and lying and manipulating and being nasty is cool. They think it's powerful. And they get off on it. And the only way to deal with it is to stand up to them. And again, the media will say, oh, Jones, before there was any evidence, said that this was probably a dirty trick. It could have been some innocent person had a heart attack or, you know, that stuff happens. But this train, after the State of the Union, in Virginia, it's known where it's going, and now this happens. You can't have the Democrats saying, we're going to kill Republicans, hashtag hunt Republicans, and Scalise getting shot, trying to take out the leadership, trying to take out Trump, all these calls for violence, Antifa saying we're going to go out and kill police and kill Republicans. And then when you have stuff like this happen, you have to say, we've got to look at foul play. You've got to default say, they say they're going to do this type of stuff. We know they're targeting the Republican leadership. Then it has to be investigated for that potentiality. It may not be. I want to open the phones up, too. I've got Larry Pratt, the head of Gun Owners of America, popping on for just a segment or two in the next hour on the bump stock ban, because now the Democrats are trying to add anything that enables rapid fires. They're trying to tie 30-round mags or larger to bump stocks, confusing the public. It has nothing to do with it. And so we're going to get an alert and a breakdown from Larry Pratt of the GOA with his operatives on the House and Senate floor to give us the real intel on what the staffers are passing around behind the scenes. So that is coming up. Bump stock ban takes effect in Massachusetts on February 1st. Yeah, and a lot of states are starting to pass those. So we're going to be following that. Now, when I come back, I want to just run through a stack of headlines and statements and quotes from the State of the Union and then leftist behavior responding to it. And then we're going to start playing large clips of POTUS. But this is just an incredible time to be alive right now. But I can tell you this. They're going to strike back. And they're going to try to bomb, and they're going to try to kill, and they're going to try to intimidate the leadership of bringing America back into submission. And you've seen globalist operatives go on MSNBC and CNN and say, if you release the memo, there will be massacres in America. So what they're saying is false flags will be done against the Democratic Party and their own operatives, and then we will blame you, just like Oklahoma City, which was totally Bill Clinton and Hillary. We know who did it, the names, the hotel receipts. It all came out in lawsuits. I've interviewed the police officers that survived, the family members of the police officer that was murdered because he saw the bombs in the building, Terrence Yakey. I've made 3 films on it. That was a Clinton inside job, 100%. And I'm telling you, they are right now with their criminal networks looking to stage massive false flags in this country to make themselves the victim. You can 1,000% guarantee that right now. But they're not in control completely anymore. They got stay-behind networks. They've got their operatives still embedded. And they've got foreign help. That's why we need to understand that a lot of the middle leadership are still Clinton and Obama operatives. That's why FBI, CIA, military, police officers, veterans, average citizens, you've got to not just watch football on your off time. You've got to penetrate all the leftist groups. You have to go grow a scruffy beard, whatever it takes, act trashy, wear a mouth shirt, and get into these organizations. You got to go to leftist churches. We've all got to engage them because they're powering up right now a violent revolution. We have to infiltrate every one of the organizations now. We need human intelligence on the ground and then just blast it out on YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen, one of our great producers, Matt, had one of the most powerful ideas I've heard in a long, long time. We're going to get to that here in just a moment as it ties into all this. But here's the president humanizing victims of MS-13. And then you've also got the poor lady shot in the back in San Francisco, and the leftist jury wouldn't even give the guy manslaughter, which is accidental death, because they had to virtue signal that illegal aliens are angel cakes. Even if you've been deported, 5 times like he had and had a bunch of convictions. Some people have been deported up to 40 times, drunk driving, murder, you name it. They're above the law. And the left wants to advertise, come to America, crap all over it, because as Joy Reid has come out and said, you don't have church, you don't have family. She actually said this. It's on drudgereport.com and Infowars.com. She said that's a bygone era, and it's basically racist that the president said that. See, having anything, having any wealth, any family, anything is now evil. And that ties in just to how they want people totally alone and domesticated, and that's in the WikiLeaks. It's top Democrats talking to Hillary and Podesta, and they go, the answer is demoralizing people and keeping them in the dark and absolutely desperate. And then Hillary's shooting back, oh, these baristas, and they're in their mother's basements at 35, and they think I'm going to give them everything. They hate you. They want to make you poor and totally control you. They have total disdain for you. And then these leftists love their masters. It's so sick. But here's what I wanted to say. Trump last night put the biggest dent in the mind control force field that the average leftist has been put in, and just rammed a huge, giant, gaping hole in their main gate. And we've got to pour through. I mean, this is how it is exponential. It's taken decades to build critical mass. Infowars, Drudge, you the listeners, all of us have blasted holes through their propaganda wall, through their electronic iron curtain. And now we've moved our big battering ram Trump up, and he's under full attack, just gleaming in the flame and the fire. And now Trump's on fire, but they're on fire. And now the battering ram, they just cut all the big ropes and the weights, went cranking back and just boom, and the gates just went bam. I mean, it's just, woo! But there's that train going right through Charlottesville, Democratic Party command base. I've had high-level CIA folks on air, off air, have told you that was a whole op. They admittedly had, you know, a whole stage deal. Now the train gets rammed by a loaded dump truck, killing the driver, injuring a bunch of people, and partially derailing it with the Speaker of the House on board. Do you really think that's an accident? Maybe it's a wonderful, nice guy. Who knows? Maybe somebody poisoned him and parked on the tracks. I don't know. I'm just saying hashtag hunt Republicans, kill Republicans, Scalise getting shot, all this, the day after when they're leaving D.C., and then this happens. We'll see. We'll see how they spin it. Might just be a wonderful, nice person. Probably is. Okay. So let's go ahead and play the president right here, humanizing victims of MS-13.
For decades, open borders have allowed drugs and gangs to pour into our most vulnerable communities. They've allowed millions of low-wage workers to compete for jobs and wages against the poorest Americans. Most tragically, they have caused the loss of many innocent lives. Here tonight are two fathers and two mothers, Evelyn Rodriguez, Freddie Cuevas, Elizabeth Alvarado, and Robert Mickens. Their two teenage daughters, Kayla Cuevas and Nisa Mickens, were close friends on Long Island. But in September 2016, on the eve of Nisa's 16th birthday, such a happy time it should have been, neither of them came home. These two precious girls were brutally murdered while walking together in their hometown. 6 members of the savage MS-13 gang have been charged with Kayla and Nisa's murders. Many of these gang members took advantage of glaring loopholes in our laws to enter the country as illegal, unaccompanied alien minors and wound up in Kayla and Nisa's high school. Evelyn, Elizabeth, Freddie, and Robert, tonight everyone in this chamber is praying for you. Everyone in America is grieving for you. Please stand. Thank you very much.
The big no-no is humanizing victims. See, when Islamists kill people, you never get to learn about it, or they don't tell you who did it. Now, here is the response by the very same lady last night, Joy Reid, on MSNBC, saying church, family, police, military, the national anthem, those are terms of a bygone era. And she goes on saying, you're not going to get it, because there's several tweets. I mean, this is just crazy. But see, if you're a slave master, you understand men and women are kept apart, children are taken by the house. This is how slavery's done. And nobody's better at carrying it out historically than women who come from a line of slaves, because it was women that would be used over the men, going back to Rome. There's manuals on this. And that's why you get this archetypal image that is projected by the media out there with leftists pushing this agenda. They're very, very cold-blooded. Let's play that clip.
And then he gives a speech tonight in which he makes it sound like the biggest issue in the United States, the biggest threat is MS-13, a gang nobody that doesn't watch Fox News has ever heard of. So he makes it sound like they're the biggest threat.
Why does he do it?
Because he's playing to the audience that he wants applause from. And the audience on the right just wants to hear that. First half of that speech, by the way, sounded like he went in a time machine and gave it in 1950. He talked about bringing coal back, a dying industry.
Coal. Beautifully
coal. Beautiful coal.
What is that about?
He sounded like he was running for president against Dwight Eisenhower. I don't know. Well, I mean, he sounded like a president from the past. And then the second half of the speech was about how all immigrants are murderers and he needs to stop them from coming to the country through family migration. It was a bizarre two-part speech.
I think
You know, I could spend an hour going over her lies right there, but we don't have the time. But number one, he didn't say everybody coming here is a murderer. That's just a total lie. Beautiful people, great people. We just got to vet folks, okay? Then she says, coal, this is from Eisenhower. We have totally clean coal. We have some of the cleanest coal in the world, and we have scrubbers that make it totally clean. Everybody else is using it. Our power prices are dropping. I have a stack of articles where this city saves $148 million. This city, $80 million. Billions in savings in 1 year as electricity prices dropped because coal came back online. We were being deindustrialized. Now, here is the giant news that is so incredibly smart, it makes my head spin. And I'm not doing this as a cliffhanger. I went too long. I have to do it after the break. This is so huge, it just ties into what you just heard. This is a major salvo against the enemy. If you take action on this front, this is going to devastate what's left of MSNBC. We are going to give to them the gift we gave Hillary and the gift we gave CNN and the gift we give these dirtbags. Trump can give people names that fit and hurts them because they deserve to be hurt politically. This is information war. This is controlled violence. We have them when we come back. I just tweeted it at Real Alex Jones. If you want to see it first, retweet it. This is Matt's idea. It's devastatingly genius. Wait until you hear this on the other side. Infowars.com, newswars.com. Spread those links. We're in a war. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got big developments on this dump truck attack on the train carrying the Speaker of the House and others the day after the State of the Union, right as the train left the Charlottesville area. That's coming up. But first, if you just joined us, I played the clip of Trump humanizing fathers and mothers that lost their sons and daughters to MS-13. Being humanized by the president. The big no-no of the left, you never humanize the victims of Islamic attack, of MS-13 attack, you name it. And the president has now trolled them yet again and tricked them to do on a national plane in a big national debate what they've already been doing, and that's defending MS-13, chain migration, illegals killing people, liberal juries in San Francisco letting illegals shoot women in the back, and just saying you can go free because this is their religion, is hating America. This is what they're engaged in. So they usually cover it in the news here, cover it there, but never have a big national debate about it. Trump just chumped them, just tricked them in the biggest troll ever to come out, the Washington Post, CNN, MSNBC, Van Jones, Joy Reid, all these nobodies have come out and are now calling him racist, even though it was Hispanic and black folks that had their kids killed by MS-13. Amazing. It's mainly Hispanics that get killed by MS-13. And they turn it into, if you want to say no to a transnational gang, you're a bad person. So we had the idea to come out and say CNN is ISIS because CNN had supported ISIS. They'd supported the Arab Spring. They'd supported what happened in Egypt and Libya and giving the weapons to them. And they were attacking Trump last year, trying to send in the military with the Russians to take him out, which he's done successfully. And it's a perfect parallel because now they're saying, oh, you talked about MS-13, that'll make it worse. Just like, oh, you talked about ISIS, that'll make it worse. No, we went and crushed it. So we created, I think Mike Cernovich was involved in the idea, but our audience launched it. T-shirts, you name it. It was all over the news, had a huge effect. CNN is ISIS. But with this, it's even better. And we just tweeted it at Real Alex Jones. Please retweet it. Hashtag MSNBC is MS-13. It fits even better than CNN. MSNBC defends MS-13, says don't talk bad about MS-13, that they're basically don't even exist, they're not a problem. Illegals aren't twice as likely to commit crime. No, that's the national crime statistics. They don't want to have a debate about that. So they just say, shut up, you're racist, you're bad, Trump. You know, Hispanic family, black family are here, had their kids killed. It's racist to say it was wrong that a Hispanic gang killed him. Crazy. Basically a death cult. where it's more and more radical and they always one-up each other. That's what happens in these death cults. And so now we're putting the hashtag out, MSNBC is MS-13. Now, obviously, they're going to try to game this and censor it, but they can't stop you putting it out on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter. Just the idea that MSNBC is MS-13. Because they defend MS-13, they think MS-13, shouldn't be criticized. They choose MS-13 over these families and their dead children killed on Long Island and the thousands of others that have been killed here, or the hundreds of thousands killed in Mexico and Guatemala. And now they're so arrogant, they have come out and jumped the biggest shark I've ever heard of and are attempting to sell this idea. I've got Washington Post, you name it. Trump is wrong about MS-13. His rhetoric will make it worse. Incredible. Yep, there it is. Mexico to beef up troops and crack down against violence after a record 25,000 murders just last year. Now, let me get back to what I was breaking down. Trump wants to stop that from totally coming here. It's already here. The severed heads out front of the police stations, the girls getting kidnapped, the sex slavery, the meth labs, all of it. And because of that, the Democratic Party that's deep in bed with it, they're upset. So, magically, Paul Ryan and the Republican leadership get on an Amtrak train so they can war game while they travel. They're going to go out to a retreat that they've been having for decades, and a dump truck rams into the train, and the media is spinning it. Well, it was on the track. The guy may have had a heart attack. Sure, he's a wonderful person, but these are computerized, controlled tracks. That's why they admit they can use driverless cars to kill people, or the remote controls can get hacked on airplanes and fly them into buildings. I told people about that decades ago. People didn't believe me. Now it's ubiquitous. Now it's all over the news. And so did a Democrat dump truck just try to derail the Trump train? Oh, I don't know. The day after the State of the Union, when the train left this morning from D.C. going through Charlottesville, that's Democrat run, and then right there this happens, a dump truck just happens to ram into the front of the train. And the media is like, we don't know what happened. Maybe it was stalled. Maybe it drove across. Maybe the signals didn't work. Maybe this, maybe that. What are the chances this is an accident? As Franklin Delano Roosevelt would say, when things happen in politics, it's planned that way. You better believe that this is super stinky. Something is rotten in the state of Denmark. Is there a chance that, I don't know, a bolt of lightning would hit the train and blow up a gas tank and kill the speaker or something? Because here's the deal. Paul Ryan's bad news, but he's a follower. He's now getting in line. McConnell's getting in line. They're all getting in line. They've tried to defeat Trump. They believe the deep state would take him out. They thought Russiagate would work. It didn't work. The memo's about to get released. Trump said last night, 100% he's going to release it. Let's cue that up in a moment. But I need everybody right now to understand, if you put out hashtag MSNBC is MS-13, man, it goes together like a horse and carriage. They'll block it. We put out that incredible Twilight Zone video that McBreen spent a month putting together. They wouldn't let us share it on Facebook. They wouldn't let us share it on Twitter to your own. You can hand share it. You can tell friends and family. Do whatever it takes. You can change the name of it and re-upload it on your YouTube channel or your Facebook. Get around the censors. They can only mainly watch our channels. And then if you give them a different name like Hillary Clinton's a loving good person or puppies and kitty cats, I'll see videos on our site that only get 100,000 views because they admittedly block us. Project Veritas has been inside congressional hearings. It's all admitted. But then I'll see a video we put out 5 million views over here, 1 million over here. It's getting out because you're uploading it yourself. Copyright free. Get it all. Use it. Do whatever you want. We're in a war, folks. But did the Democrat dump truck get placed there? Did they kill a poor guy, put him in there, put on the tracks? I mean, look at the date. Look at the time. Look at the train. Good Lord, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe it is very rare, you know. Maybe a sinkhole opened up. The whole train goes in. Maybe it was an accident when Scalise got shot, and he tried to kill those other congressmen and said he wanted to kill the leadership. Maybe that didn't exist either. Maybe the stock market's not at 26,000. Maybe I don't exist. We're in a civil war, ladies and gentlemen, trying to get our country back from globalists. Please, I haven't plugged hardly any. We got to fund the operation. We've got bodies, the strongest turmeric, highest quality that we could get at a very low price. It's 50% off out of the gates. I want you to have it. All the amazing anti-inflammatory things it's known for and a lot more. We also have Cell Force that is DNA Force Plus. It's more of the same high-quality ingredients at a lower price, but I thought contractually I couldn't put it out under the DNA Force name because that had been in partnership with Group, and he couldn't get the same deals we could. He's so nice. He saw that we got this better deal, just said, you just manufactured DNA Force Plus now that we were planning to put out because he said this is such a great formula. That's just how classy he is. And so there'll only be one run of Cell Force. Then it will be known as DNA Force Plus. Let me explain. More bio-PQQ, more CoQ10, more of all, I mean, massively more. And it's even lower price. Similar formulas are $200 to $400 to $500 because doctor's offices sell it. And, you know, it's got 60 bucks of product in it, and they sell it for 300. Okay, whatever. We don't do that. I've been able to lower it costing us 50, 60 bucks a bottle down to 30-something bucks a bottle, so I just dropped the whole deal. It's at $70.45, Cell Force. You cannot get a better deal out there. Little bitty crappy bottles of synthetic stuff are $50. Infowarsstore.com. The Chinese, the Romans, the Egyptians, the Babylonians, the Mesoamerican Mayans, they didn't know why. They just knew that when there were blood moons and things, generally, it was associated with earthquakes, big changes, cultural changes, and we've had record numbers of blood moons. And last night, I intended to get up at 5 a.m. to see it. I just didn't do it. I slept into like 7. I don't normally do that. But I was up pretty late last night after that amazing State of the Union, and I was reading. It wasn't just a blue moon. It was a super moon, meaning it was super close to the Earth. Yeah, we can roll some of it. And then it was a blue moon, meaning 2 in 1 month. And then there was an eclipse at 5 a.m., so it was a blood moon. It was a super moon, blue moon, blood moon. And reportedly, that is just unbelievably rare, depending on your geographic area. I mean, thousands of years that'll be seen again, reportedly. I mean, this is just insane. And then you've got that amazing State of the Union when all of this happened. And you've got this train getting rammed by this truck. And, you know, maybe the guy had a heart attack. I'm sure it's a great person, but the globalists aren't beyond killing somebody, remote controlling the vehicle in. I told you about self-driving cars, and these train systems can be hacked, and then you can not, you know, let the train know there's an obstruction coming up. I mean, there's all sorts of angles to this. Kit Daniels got a story up on Infowars.com dealing with it. But just look at this. This is just wild. If you're a TV viewer, remember, we're on a lot of radio stations. I got to keep reminding myself, everybody else, we have over 200 radio affiliates, and I'm like saying, look at this, look at that. But, you know, again, super moon meaning it's close to the Earth, blue moon meaning 2 in 1 month, and blood moon meaning eclipse. I mean, that is crazy. And then it all hell breaks loose. You know, the Romans wouldn't march off to war voluntarily unless Mars was visible. And then if Mars, you know, Mars is usually down by the horizon. Doesn't get up too high usually. But I used to be into astronomy. But sometimes it gets closer. And that's when, and historically, they've checked when the Mars is closer to the Earth, and they've checked historically all over the world, and then that's when massive wars break out. And again, I'm not into all this voodoo and superstition and mumbo jumbo and abracadabra, hocus pocus, but then you have to be. People that are into it get obsessed with it, and it's a bunch of cons and charlatans acting like they understand it and know what's going on. But I mean, just the moon, when it's full, is when the fish are all going crazy, is when the animals are out hunting and mating. And it's been proven that animals go wild when there are full moons and when the moon is closer to the Earth, and that women generally line up their cycles, at least in rural areas. It's changed, all the electromagnetic radiation stuff now in industrial society, but the women all line up with the moon. I mean, it's just a lot of wild stuff going on. And space winds and the sun. But the globalists, oh, the UN voted 7 years ago and said the sun has no effect on climate. It's all humans. Because they want to be God. They don't want to let you realize you're this little speck in the universe with an amazing mind that can grasp it, but still incredibly small. And they don't want you to have that awesome opening up and understanding and that infinity moment where you spacewalk spiritually and realize you are part of the past, you are the present, you are the future in infinity consciousness, not just in the Zen moment of moment and forever, but in the great genetic quest of life, in the mind of God, experiencing consciousness at a lower level, and then projecting onward again with species in time jumps. Millions of years, that's our species. Time jumping, it seems to you like slow, but it's instant in a higher dimension. And then you add to all of that together with the spiritual level that interfaces, it's all multivariate and all ties together perfectly. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back live. I am your host, Alex Jones. Larry Pratt's going to be joining us coming up here in a few minutes on the moves to restrict the Second Amendment, not just bump stocks, but going after larger capacity magazines, you name it. Now, the first thing I want to do is just restate the big issue that I see here, that America's back, that the globalists are panicking, that they could pull anything, that I've said they're going to launch attacks on Congress, and they're going to try to kill Republican leaders of Congress this week. And I've been saying that for about the last 2 weeks. I said, building up towards the release of the memo, they've had their operatives from the Obama National Security Council go on MSNBC and say, quote, if you release the memo, there will be giant massacres. Now, that means they'll do false flags on themselves to be the victim, but you've seen hashtag Hunt Republicans go after Scalise and try to kill the leadership. You've seen them push it all over the place. They mean business. And, of course, the little messenger girl from former Obama National Security Council, she may not know what's even going on. Alyssa Jordan, the wife of Michael Hastings' car that blew up, MSNBC analyst, claims conspiracies about FBI text messages could lead to violence. He goes on to say massacres. Well, we've now seen a dump truck full of trash ram the train. Did they hack in, open the signals, let the truck on, tell the signals to not alert the train? That's what you can do with hacks. That's what you can do with these trains that are basically remote control. And notice now that we have driverless trains more and more, there's a conductor, but he's sitting there playing on his iPhone. You're having more and more of these wrecks. So is this the conspiracy of the system falling apart? Or is it the day after a key State of the Union derailing the Trump train by changing the subject to the image of the Republican train being rammed by a dump truck full of garbage? Remember Matt Allen them calling Trump the garbage presidency and the garbage man. And I said, I love that logo. I love that iconography. I love that symbolism. He's taking the garbage out. That's a very honorable job. Taking the garbage out. The country's coming back. Getting rid of the globalism. Democrat dump truck derails Trump train, question mark. This is perfect to divert the news cycle away from Trump unifying the nation with his powerful speech. Hashtag train crash. And another tweet I put out that we really need to get out everywhere. I need to tweet it on Paul's tweet. I need everybody to help us get this out. Paul Watson's tweet. I need the listeners to. Hashtag MSNBC is MS-13. Now that they've said the president's bad for putting down the precious MS-13 and for humanizing the Hispanic and black families that were there who had their children killed by MS-13 in Long Island. So again, hashtag MSNBC is MS-13. Please get that out everywhere until it's a slogan. Hillary for prison. Bill Clinton's a rapist. Lock her up. CNN is ISIS. If the shoe fits, wear it. And that's what we're doing. But let me just read to you these headlines. Viewers approve of Trump's first State of the Union address. CBS News poll, 75%. You go, Alex, you say polls are fake. Yeah, they oversample Democrats. So it's probably 85 to 90%. Because I don't just believe one poll. I looked at a whole spectrum. I looked at 8 different polls. They were all 70 or higher. We got video of this on Infowars.com. Watch. CNN forced to dismiss its own poll after huge majority registered positive reaction to State of the Union. 70% is what it was combined to on CNN. That's got them in full panic mode. Lawmakers press Pence to help 100 Iranian Christians in legal limbo. We're going to get to that. Trump declares a new American moment, stresses unity during first State of the Union. So they say it's disunion. Donald Trump's State of the Union ratings steady with 2017 speech. Everything else is down. That's establishment. Pelosi frowns when Trump calls to summon the unity we need to deliver. MSNBC's Joy Reid triggered by Trump using the word family. I'm not kidding. She says that's part of the past. You're not going to have that anymore. They literally hate reality, folks. They hate you having someone. They want you alone to feed on you. Trump divides Americans and un-Americans, and that's totally true. He divided people by folks that want to be American and people that don't want to be American, and Democrats got up and walked out when he said that. And people chanted USA. Trump's like, America's back. USA, USA, yeah, the stock market. Up, get the globalist and march out of there. Video of that on Infowars.com. I mean, these people do not want to be Americans. He says, I don't care what color you are, where you're from. If you're hardworking, we love you. Come together. This is great. Unifying. And the illegal alien globalist lobby gets up and marches out of the deal because you can't have a country. You can't have a family. You can't have an identity. That's what globalism is. Video, Luis Gutierrez, triggered by USA chants, flees the House chamber with other Democrats. Donald Trump praises Hurricane Harvey Coast Guard, California firefighter, and wounded congressman for bravery in State of the Union address. That clip's coming up. In fact, I want to play that first, even Larry Pratt after the break. Trump puts the focus on we over I, uses the term himself or the president or Trump half as much as Obama does. In State of the Union, Trump vows optimism as more fights loom. Trump makes qualified appeal for unity after divisive first year. Donald Trump scorches NFL protests in first State of the Union, praises Apple and Obamacare. Repeal. ABC melts down over divisive, gloomy, sad State of the Union speech, stoking racial tensions. And I've got a bunch of clips of Cory Booker, Chris Matthews, all saying the same thing. Oh, very ugly, very bad. Family, that's code word for racism. What? Again, that's how twisted these people are. ABC melts down over divisive, gloomy, sad. Amazing. Facts first. CNN speculates Melania wearing white to protest her husband because some Democrat senators a few years ago wore white. Oh, absolutely. She hates her husband. Not that CNN said so. Joe Kennedy drools as Republicans belittle the spittle. Preparing for State of the Union, Trump says he's learning to govern with the heart. In perfect metaphor for socialism, Bernie Sanders' State of the Union video response craps out. And it goes on and on and on. I want to just play a few minutes, and we're going to break and come back with Larry Pratt with critical intel from GOA.org, the hardcore gun organization that's brought us so much success. Thank God for them. But I want to go out to break with just the first few minutes of Trump's speech. America's back. And then we'll go to break and we'll come back with Larry Pratt on the other side.
Vice President, members of Congress, the First Lady of the United States, and my fellow Americans. Less than 1 year has passed since I first stood at this podium in this majestic chamber to speak on behalf of the American people and to address their concerns, their hopes, and their dreams. That night, our new administration had already taken very swift action. A new tide of optimism was already sweeping across our land. Each day since, we have gone forward with a clear vision and a righteous mission to make America great again for all Americans.
A righteous mission. And this is a righteous mission. Free market, Americana. I mean, this is it compared to socialism and Bernie Sanders swindling you. Imagine Bernie Sanders compared to this bull.
Over the last year, we have made incredible progress and achieved extraordinary success.
We're going to be right back, and I'm playing all of it in the third and fourth hour, and I'm going to take your calls as well, but Larry Pratt straight ahead, because they are striking at the Second Amendment, though, so we've got to continue to track their operations. Well, they're now reporting as many as 30 people injured, one dead, when a dump truck carrying garbage rammed into the front of an Amtrak train carrying the Republican leadership, including the Speaker of the House, to an annual retreat they've had for decades, right after the train left Charlottesville. This happened. Now, I'm not saying that the driver did this. He's probably a great guy. But you could easily remote control a truck. You could also have the sensors turned off so that the train didn't know it was up there. That's the problem with driverless cars, and these trains are basically driverless. The fact that this happened the day after this historic speech, with the Democrats saying #HuntRepublicans, and Scalise getting shot, and the plan to take out the leadership and all the calls for violence is very suspicious. And we can pull the clips up if somebody can find it in the notes from the last week. I have been saying since last week over and over again, before they release this memo, they're going to plan something violent. Now it's 3 dead. Okay, so the numbers are, if you put that back on screen, because we're getting conflicting reports here, but we're following it as it goes. So if you can put that back on screen, please. Oh, that's a Milan train derailment. Okay, well, good. That's not that. All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate that. Okay, we're about to go back to Larry Pratt here in just a moment. I appreciate him joining us from Gun Owners of America, gunowners.org. A lot of people think we can go to sleep now about the Second Amendment, but they have called to ban all semi-autos after what happened in Vegas. They've had calls to ban bump stocks. That's in Congress. Different states are banning them, and different states are wanting to ban high-capacity magazines. So there's a hysteria going with this right now. And I wanted to get Larry Pratt on, the head of Gun Owners America, to give us the fact versus some of the fiction that's going on out there. So, Larry Pratt, thank you for coming on with us. What is the truth going on right now?
Well, thank you very much for having me, Alex. I really appreciate your interest in this subject. The bump stock is simply one more excuse that the anti-Second Amendment crowd is trying to use to get rid of as many guns as possible. I remember I didn't even really, this is many years ago, know much what a semi-automatic was. But when the left started pounding away as how bad these assault rifles were, I went out and bought a few just because they didn't want me to have one. And obviously, all during the Obama administration, that was, I think, one of the factors that was operating with the very robust gun sales is that, in fact, I was in gun stores where they had pictures of President Obama and a caption underneath saying, "Gun Salesman of the Year." Well, what they're going to do now is try to expand from this bump stock, which is it's an interesting device and it can be fun, but it's not particularly practical unless maybe you're shooting people like those that might be in a barrel of fish. But otherwise, it's not particularly accurate. It's an amusing accessory that you can put on a gun if you've got a spare $150. I immediately had the same reaction when they started talking about bump stock in Las Vegas. I went online to see if I could buy one. Well, they were all sold out. My desire to get one has subsequently subsided considerably. But what I did years ago with my semi-automatic rifle was to engage it so that my finger was able to bump back and forth, and I would hold the barrel in just such a way that I was doing what the bump stock does. Not very accurate, but neither is the bump stock. The fact of the matter is, guns are guns, and we don't really have a problem until bad people want to do something. And if we're going to keep going back to the tragedy at Las Vegas at the hotel was a gun-free zone. How did that work out?
So looking at legislation in the states versus D.C., what are the main threats right now? Because I see some of these reports that the Democrats are passing bills around that go after not just bump stocks, but semi-auto, you name it again, and that they're having some success at the state level. I mean, what's the threat assessment right now on the current attacks on the Second Amendment, not just with bump stocks, but any other areas?
No, I think you're spot on, and this was what we were concerned about and said so in one of our email right after Las Vegas, that this could very likely be used as an excuse to go after as much of the Second Amendment array as they could. And true to form, they're using that for precisely that reason. The fact of the matter is, I don't see them doing too much in Congress unless they're able to, what they've done is to cobble a really serious measure onto the bump stock measure. The so-called fix-nix system that has been before the Congress would expand the instant background check to all transfers of firearms, thus giving the government a complete list of anybody who's bought a gun, period. And eventually they'd have just about it and their gun in that list. Now, they're not supposed to keep that list. Well, Lois Lerner wasn't supposed to do what she did at the IRS. When you give the government this kind of information, count on it. There'll be a rogue agent, a rogue bureaucrat,
like Reality Winner, who will.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the problem. So we're very concerned that this could be but a first step, and we've been telling the Congress, don't do it. This will not help your political situation, because we know what's going on. And, it turned out that when the NRA said, let's have the Congress take a look at this, maybe it should be regulated more. I'll tell you what, that got us more new members in a short order of time than we've had in a long time. The American gun owner, and I think the American public, is not buying this. I think we've come to the point now where we've seen the government is not a trustworthy entity. It's way off there in Washington. It's the very kind of problem that the founders sought to avoid by keeping government at the state and especially the local level. But when it's off in Washington, it's very difficult to track what's going on. And
well, my next question is that Massachusetts and some other states have passed laws banning bump stocks, and they're now going after, even some of the firearms that are even bolt action in some of the more controlled areas like Chicago and other areas, even though we have a Supreme Court ruling saying they shouldn't be doing that. Are the Democrats still basically flagrantly ignoring the D.C. Heller decision?
The Democrats definitely ignore the Constitution. They ignore Heller. They ignore federal law. The Democrats, as you know, this is no newsflash, they are control freaks. They want it all. And they will move on as much as they possibly can. In a somewhat related way, you remember when the tax cut was being proposed by the administration, Nancy Pelosi said that would be Armageddon. In other words, the end of the world. If the Democrats can't take all our money, that's the end of the world.
I want to do a few more minutes with you just to discuss where the gun culture is right now and how the Democrats are striking back, and that they admit brainwashing children against it, but how you see in the long-term trajectory this fight going. And I want to ask you your favorite part. I assume you watch the State of the Union, and then I'm going to let you go and get to all these clips and open the phones up. More with Larry Pratt on the other side, straight ahead. Infowars.com, newswars.com, and gunowners.org. We are the most hated, most demonized, most attacked, patriotic, libertarian, conservative, Christian broadcast in the world. Hands down. Southern Poverty Law Center says it. ADL, congressional hearings, you name it. New York Times, Washington Post, they say we're enemy number one. And then we have Project Veritas in 2 different undercover videos with Google executives saying, our main job, stop Alex Jones. And then everybody else like him. And to keep them in their own echo chambers and don't let him reach people because his information takes over and goes viral. Yeah, we had 86 million viewers and listeners the week of the election last year and a half ago now, and that panicked them. So when I get up here and brag and say that, it's not bragging. I'm saying we've got the information and the guest and the synergy that scares them. What are vampires scared of? Sunshine. They are scared of this broadcast, and they have hit us hard in so many ways. To censor us, to block us, to cut us off, and so many other things I'm not at liberty to get into because some of it is subject of criminal investigations federally. Not of me, of them. And I'm just going to stop right there. But this is a very serious time to be alive right now. And understand, they're capable of anything. So we're beginning to win and turn the tide, unifying the country around what made us great. The globalists aren't going to turn loose. And I wanted to ask Larry Pratt, who's not just the head of Gun Owners of America, who Ted Nugent has said on air, and so many others, he's a board member of the NRA, that if it wasn't for GOA, we couldn't have basically radicalized the NRA to stop being a bunch of compromisers and weasels like they were 20 years ago to what they are today. So again, the conscience of the NRA is GOA. And it isn't about praising GOA. It's about understanding we have been down to the wire just since I've been politically involved for 25 years, 5 or 6 times where the country was going to go completely over into tyranny. And we have been so close, just like this election and just like the tax cuts and just like everything else. I don't want people to be too confident because the enemy is going to strike back. I expect serious attacks on Republicans, physical attacks, you name it, just experiencing what I have experienced. There's so much to get into. MSNBC's Joy Reid, triggered by Trump using the word family. She said church, family, police, military, the national anthem, Trump trying to call on all the tropes of the 1950s. That's a bygone era, and she goes on in that tweet and others to say it's bad. And then she defends MS-13, and the Washington Post does. Trump trolled them again, didn't they, Larry? By having victims of MS-13, one of the most deadly gangs in the world, definitely the most vicious, the most crazy. And then he's bad for humanizing people. It just shows their incredible disconnect. Did they not know that Trump was trolling them? He knew that he was setting them up. I mean, it's incredible. So speak to that and what you expect them to do next, because they never give up.
Unhinged comes to mind frequently when I'm thinking of our opponents on the left. They increasingly seem to be disconnected from reality. They are more than frustrated that they don't have the control that they have long sought. And I think they actually believed their own polling that they were going to win the last election. And when they didn't, they just fell apart. And I don't think we've seen them come back together again. And I guess Humpty Dumpty and all the king's men couldn't put him back together again. So we're watching a continuous train wreck for sure. You would ask about the Second Amendment and the president's speech. He certainly made it clear that he's going to continue being what I think will go on record as being the most pro-Second Amendment presidency, certainly in the last 100 years. This guy is acting quickly. He has been undoing executive orders with his own executive orders that Obama had been signing to make it so that an old veteran who had somebody writing checks for him would be declared incompetent, and because of that incompetency, have his guns taken away. Obama was really good at finding any excuse whatsoever to grab guns. Well, that's clearly over. That's not going to happen for the next 4, hopefully next 8 years or beyond. President Trump has really made a difference. And what I'm hoping is that the one thing that's hanging fire, that hasn't happened yet, is that the Republican leadership, like so many other Republican leaderships around the country, don't really care about the gun issue. And maybe it's even stronger. Maybe they don't really like the Second Amendment at all. And so they're not moving on the national carry bill. If the national carry bill passes, particularly the way the House has it framed, that means that you and I, if we had to, could go to Chicago on business with our concealed carry firearm, and we would be legal. Put it in the belly of the plane when you check your luggage, when you get to your destination, reclaim it, put it in your purse.
So it further mainlines the fact that good guys, good women with guns is the answer. is the facts. And so we definitely need to get, that's what you're saying, to get to the next step in defeating this. In closing, for me, it's surreal, Larry, to have gone and heard Ronald Reagan speeches when I was a little kid and George W. Bush speeches or George Herbert Walker Bush speeches, and then not really see it get delivered, even though Reagan did do some good things. I think was a good man, obviously. With Trump, he's on a mission. He's delivering. The enemy hates him. He's just, it's so refreshing to see someone do exactly what they say they'll do. It's just mind-blowing. But then I see the media use right-wing attacks against him, because that is the only thing that works, by going, oh, see, he told you he was going to ship all the illegals out, or blah, 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 and he hated all the Mexicans, but now he's going to let 800,000 stay. If they are able to then shore everything else up, he always said that back during the campaign. So what they do is they misrepresent him on both sides. People on the right wing want to get cheap, shots in on things that Trump didn't do. The left wing will then amplify right-wing media if it attacks Trump with false reports. So I only see that angle now being one of the areas that they've got any hope.
I think with Trump, we have to learn to take a deep breath, especially those of us on the right, and realize he's playing them like a Stradivarius violin. And if he does something that I don't understand at first, wait a day or two or a week or so, and you may just get to see that, oh, that's what he was up to. Donald Trump is a smart cookie. Yeah, he started out with $1 million or so in his pocket, but he didn't lose it, and he hundreds times more from what he had inherited. Clearly, the man is a doer, an achiever, and I'm just very impressed with what I've seen so far. He's done more in his first year to undo the Obama administration than I would have thought at all possible. I wasn't even hoping for that kind of a broom coming through and just knocking it all out.
You're right, and you know a man by his enemies, and boy, the enemies, I mean, Trump just absolutely enrages them and makes them show who they really are. Coming out, hey, here's a Hispanic couple, a black couple, they lost their children to vicious MS-13, humanizing him, and then the media viciously attacks him, calls Trump a racist, and defends MS-13. I mean, he's making them uncloak themselves, and that's what's invaluable.
It was just priceless. And for the Black Caucus to be so upset with Trump, when this is the guy who has given an economic picture that has so improved the lives of so many blacks. It's a near record low black unemployment, and they just sat on their hands when he pointed to that fact. Amazing how the left is more interested in their cause. They're not interested in people.
Well, look at the sullen faces of the Black Caucus. Those don't look like any black people or anybody else I know. It looks like people that were hired to come in and sell out their people and make sure they could abort as many as they could possibly. God bless you, Larry Pratt, gunowners.org. We'll talk to you again soon. We'll be back with more clips of the epic State of the Union. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back live. I've got 16 clips from the State of the Union I want to play, and that's not even all of it. Trump arrives at the State of the Union, and the stuff he says on the hot mics. Trump says we're going to release the memo 100%, or you'd be too angry. Americans are dreamers too. Trump, this is your time, America. Trump, a new tide of optimism is sweeping our nation. See, we've been demoralized with all the race stuff and the sex stuff and the infighting and all the rest of it. Trump is the opposite of a divider. But the globalists say, get rid of your country or you're a divider so they can conquer you. Now, first he says, we have a nation, we have values, we're inclusive, we're America, but we're not globalist and we're not communist and we're not any of these things. And the people that had hijacked this country are flipping out. They were running a military destabilization and demoralization campaign. People used to think I was negative. I was targeting them as the outside force, showing how they were screwing us and telling you if we just got somebody in, guaranteed recovery, because it's artificial. That's in all the documents. It's artificial. If you're holding somebody under the water and they're drowning, I can guarantee that if you let them back up before they die, they won't die. So there's just so much to get into, so much to break down, ladies and gentlemen. If you think that that truck just stalled there by itself and that somebody didn't kill that guy and park it up there on the tracks, that's how they like to do it. It's a classic CIA tactic, too. You'll kill somebody, have them in the car, and remote control it into the next vehicle. That is the standard assassination tool right now, is they got remote control in all the new cars for at least a decade. You kill an individual who doesn't have a background, who's innocent, and then, of course, they always end up dying, and then that's how you do this type of stuff. You ram somebody else's car with it. That's even the movie like Syriana, that's based on a true story. George Clooney says, I want you to kill him, and then I want you to load him in a car, I want you to run a truck into it, a dump truck into it. I mean, this is standard dump truck. I mean, it's standard. Standard. So, I mean, that is CIA playbook 100%. Unbelievable. On the day after. All right, I got to get to Trump here. Let's go ahead, and this is Your Time, America. America. And again, the Democrats tweet, how dare you talk about America and children and family and God? This is horrible. That's all gone. That's what MSNBC said. That's all gone. And the statistics show record number of low families, record number of people not having kids. Yeah, you really messed us up. You hurt us real bad. And now we're trying to crawl away like Russia has done and survive, and you're pissed because you didn't finish the job, rats. But I swear I'm going to expose you, period. And our listeners are going to expose you. Let's go to the clip. Here it is.
Yeah.
This has a reporter's commentary over the platform.
And he's a great welder. I was told that by the man that owns that company that's doing so well. So congratulations, Corey. Since we passed tax cuts, roughly 3 million workers have already gotten tax cut bonuses, many of them thousands and thousands of dollars per worker, and it's getting more every month, every week. Apple has just announced it plans to invest a total of $350 billion in America and hire another 20,000 workers.
You notice this is in his words. He wrote almost all of this.
When they say that Trump doesn't work, oh, look at the ugly Tim Kaine. Boy, he's really enjoying himself.
Doesn't like that.
Those bonuses and the tax cuts show just how hard President Trump is working. He had to call all those companies and coordinate this entire thing for those bonuses.
And just a little while ago, ExxonMobil announced a $50 billion investment in the United States. Just a little while.
And now we're the world's leading oil producer, too.
This, in fact, is our new American moment. There has never been a better time to start living the American dream. So to every citizen watching at home tonight, no matter where you've been or where you've come from, this is your time. If you work hard, if you believe in yourself, if you believe in America, then you can dream anything. You can be anything. And together, we can achieve absolutely anything.
You know, I think this is the best speech I've heard Trump give, as far as acting very presidential and very professional and really doing a good job of getting that message across to the liberals how well he's helped our economy.
And rubbing it in their faces with a smile. He said,
Tonight, I want to talk about what kind of future we're going to have and what kind of a nation we're going to be. All of us together as one team, one people, and one American family can do anything. We all share the same home, the same heart, the same destiny, and the same great American flag.
I think he's about to talk about kneeling.
Powerful. And I've got a bunch of other clips I want to play, but let's play that clip one more time. I was only played it at the first of the broadcast about an hour and 53 minutes ago of the president when he's leaving, talking to a congressman saying, please release the memo. And Trump says, oh, 100%. Now, the question is, will the executive branch decide to redact any of it? And then if he doesn't do that, If he just sits on it, Congress can then override in 8 days. So we're talking next week. We're talking next Monday that we're going to be able to see the contents, the roadmap of the criminal activity the Democratic Party has been caught in, trying to destroy our electoral process and bring our country into a dictatorship run by Homeland Security, sitting over the local towns and cities' voting systems. That is what Obama put on the books in the last days of office. But here is the dramatic hot mic audio and video.
Great speaking. Let's release the number. Oh, yeah. Oh, don't worry. 100%. Can you imagine that? Yes, sir. Last year. He'd be too angry. How you doing? How's it going? How's it changing?
One of the biggest talking points they've got against InfoWars and myself is, after decades of warning of martial law and gun confiscation and plans to attack the family and all the rest, and world government and all this made-up stuff, and the next show on the very program promotes that, Jones now loves the government and loves the military. I always loved the military. I was never against the police. I wanted constitutional government. I wanted my country back being run by Americans for the nation, for the people. Does that mean Trump's perfect? I can't believe he got this much done. He's got to work with Congress, work with the courts, and so many of them are opposing him. But what's happening is the Republican leadership was told he would be removed in November or December. They sat there on their hands until the coup didn't take place. And then Russiagate imploded. And now, like good little ducks, the Republican leadership are getting in line because they know which way the wind's blowing. And you see the whole thing shift. The Saudi Arabian money's been cut off from the Democrats. The Chinese money's getting cut off. Suddenly the New York Times and Washington Post admit every major university that's Democrat-controlled is Chinese commie-controlled. That's coming out. It's all going to come out. And people are going to look back and go, wow, that's exactly what Alex Jones told us. Because I've studied. And I only point out we're so right because they try to brand us as fake news to destroy us. That's why I need your financial support now more than ever. I need you to commit to go to InfoWarsStore.com with amazing T-shirts, books, videos, water filtration, air filtration, non-GMO heirloom seeds, huge selection, high-quality emergency radios, shortwave radios, all sorts of cool survival gear. InfoWarsStore.com. $50 off still on Alexa Pure Breeze, super high-quality air filtration. Cell Force is DNA Force Plus. I've just was in a partnership with a group, still am, but he goes, you know what, this formula is plus. It's got more in it. It's less price. Just go with the big national organic lab you're using because I can't top this, and I agree, let's lower the price. He's a big manufacturer, but not as big as some of the other ones we use. So this is one run at Cellforce, and it will be called DNA Force Plus when it comes out, when this sells out. And there's not much left. At this price, it's going to be gone, I'd say, in about 2 weeks. So if you want to experience DNA Force Plus with more bio-PQQ and CoQ10 and everything else, then get your Cellforce today. Leading competitors are $200, $300, $400 for something this strong coming out of medical facilities. It's not prescription, but that's who sells it. They mark it up 5-6 times. We don't do that. It's not even marked up 100% right now at this price of $70. It's an incredible deal. It really is. Something you need to get for your family. Cellforce at InfoWarsStore.com. I got to tell you, we're seeing big-time history right now in front of us. We're seeing criminal cabals of private corporate leaders, big foundations, running people for college and putting them into the system and then putting them into the CIA, the FBI, just like the mafia is known for putting people in college and running them through to join the FBI or join the state police. And we've just got total infiltration. But now these people are so hubris-filled that they tried to bully everybody once we started doing this cancer operation to remove the face-sucking cancer, and it's just accelerated their demise. It is crazy. I mean, Trump's really been up at 60% polls. I've gone over all that evidence. And now they've got these polls at 70's the lowest on CNN. Some of them are at 79%, CBS 75. And that's with oversampling Democrats. You can look at the different polls, 9 to 15 points. I mean, we're talking 85 points. people couldn't watch that and see him lay out, because I actually watched his immigration speeches. He talked to all the experts, had a really reasonable, pragmatic plan. He understands we've got to bring in workers, all the rest of it. And then the media can't stand, the globalist-controlled media cannot stand that he gave a 7.5-minute breakdown of his totally reasonable, pragmatic, quite frankly, very open immigration stance. You just better not be a criminal or try to get on welfare right away. And that's why some of the more right-wing groups that aren't optimistic and think that the folks being brought in from China and Mexico and everywhere are going to get brainwashed by leftists. And, you know, they may be right. I mean, Trump may be wrong. I may be wrong. I'm just very optimistic. I think, hey, you want to come here because there's a little bit of free market left, right? And this media is owned by the big banks, and all it tells you all day is to hate white people. That's stupid. White people are going to be a minority. They almost are. Most of them are old. Why don't you go enjoy yourself and you know, have 500 flavors of ice cream, hundreds of different phones, hundreds of different doctors in each town, hundreds of restaurants, hundreds of everything, and all that, just bitching about it constantly. And opportunities that are just so crazy compared to everything else. I mean, are you really? Because, see, I'm not a racist. I don't think you're stupid. I think if I present these facts that, hey, these big mega banks that are tax exempt, that are into all sorts of really evil stuff like pedophilia, they're the ones that have looted these countries and had programs to not let them industrialize, they admit, in the UN population plan and the rest of it, to not let you industrialize, to control you. And then they want to blow up whatever's left to not have any competition. The globalists want total control, like Elon Musk has said. The tech heads are crazy. They're in a cult. They think they're God. They're going to merge with the machine. They're planning to get rid of everybody. Because he's been in there with them. I just read their writings. So I will guarantee you they're not your friend. 100%. 100%. And they want to use tribalism and divide and conquer to control everybody. I'm going to come back and hit these clips. Then I'm going to start getting your phone calls, because in the 4th hour I'm going to host, I'm going to play large just segments from the start. We'll probably get to about 45 minutes of it or more, and then right into the war room today. I want these clips played. I want them celebrated. I mean, we should name the clip here where Trump talks about what he really stands for dealing with the border, his real immigration plan, and then in his own words, what Trump really says, what they hope you don't see on immigration. Because right after he said all these things, they had the usual suspects like Joy Reid on TV saying, well, you just heard him. He says every immigrant's a murderer and every Mexican's evil. He didn't say that, you lying sicko witch. Man, you're the one getting pissed off. Anybody's got a family, you damn witch. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back live broadcasting worldwide. I intend, starting coming up in the next segment, to take your phone calls specifically about the State of the Union. Do you think I'm wrong stating that this was messianic? And I'm not saying Trump is the deliverer like Moses. When I say messianic, from going from Hillary and what we were facing and their plan to shut down the internet freedom and come after everybody and ban talk radio with fairness doctrine, I mean, they were announcing a total power grab. America was on its death doorstep. America was on its deathbed. And pragmatists that like freedom and free market and wealth and success just came in and said, you lunatics that have got these giant you-know-whats on to rape the country, it's got to stop, you crazy people. I mean, you're crazy. And then you see their response, frothing at the mouth, lying live time. All Americans, no matter where you're from or what color you are, if you want to be free and free market and live in peace and be productive, you are welcome here. We're going to make it easier for you to get here. But if you're a criminal and been deported 10 times, you're out of here. Turn on CNN, MSNBC. You just heard the KKK-laced hatred and how much he hates all immigrants and says they're all criminals and trash. I mean, if I walked on a car dealership and Trump's saying this is a Ford F-150 pickup with the basic package, and it's $20,000. That's our lowest cost, and you can check it online. You might be able to get it shipped in from out of state somewhere, but there'll be extra duties for $19,500. And I go do research. It's exactly like you said. I go, okay, well, this is a truck I'm looking for. I'm going to get it. The Democrats have got a gremlin from the 1970s with fire shooting out, burning, and they're telling me that it's a Lamborghini Countach, or however you call them, that cost $1 million. And I'm like, man, it's a rusted-out gremlin. They're like, no, socialism and communism works wonderful, and we're going to take good care of you, and we're going to. And then you find out what they're all involved in, like toasting $200 bottles of wine when they go, I'm going to get my Lamborghini when we sell these baby parts. And it's just, and they're like getting off on it. They're not just doing bad. They're like witches going, and they've given into an evil spirit. And that's why I keep going back. I've got like 4 clips here. I've only played one of them. But I just can't get over. I've got hundreds of articles here. They're all incredibly important. But I can't get over this one article that's on drudgereport.com by Paul Joseph Watson from newswars.com. MSNBC's Joy Reid, triggered by Trump using the word family. And then you read her sickening, evil tweets. Church, ... Family, ... Police, ... Military, ... See the psych warfare she's been trained in? They've demonized the police and military. Okay, because they want to overthrow what's left of the government, bring in their own system where you really won't like the police and military. And then they associate that with church and family. First, they demonize Pavlovianly with the 5 minutes of hate every day, Orwell style, police and military, and the national anthem, and you know, kneeling during it and all of it. Then they add church and family in. See, that's how you do it. It's next level. And then she says, you're trying to normalize the bygone era of church and family. Okay. And that's what's in the textbooks. It says in the CPS training manual textbooks, I've shown on air, it says the family belongs to the prehistoric era. They actually believe you're born and go into a communal building and social engineers raise you. And that's what the colleges are the Trigglypuffs and all these zombies. And then you read the documents, they admit, we're forming a post-human world because of our carbon footprint. We're going to merge with silicon and become AI gods. But to do that, we've got to make people just be derelicts that watch TV and play games all day while we slowly drug them and poison them ahead of larger forced population reductions. But studies show many will opt in to actually be euthanized after a certain point for several years of entertainment and fun. And we'll have these they're going to have you sign contracts to be killed in the future. You can be on welfare for 10 years and go to Vegas every day and do whatever you want, and then you're going to die. And you think I'm joking? The announcements are about to come. So I've got their whole plan from my own research and also from other sources. But we are now the source for the CIA and the FBI. See, we've gone from that thing of the mad prophet out in the wilderness, oh, that's the nut, you know, until when it all comes true, then you're in the palace, see? And it's not a power trip. You don't even want to be there because there's good people in the government. There's also a lot of bad people, and the operatives are inside there. I don't want to be anywhere around it. But, yes, we are the zeitgeist. InfoWars is the flamethrower right in the middle of the enemy camp, and they may censor and block us from all the trendies and the zombies and try to keep us from them and try to inoculate them against us while they suppress us, while they block us, while they don't let us share our links. While they have, it's like 10 TV shows attacking me every week now, or sometimes 5 nights a week, where they admit, yes, we play Alex Jones, and then the guy gets up at So Original and goes, I love the KKK, and I hate black people, and I'm Alex Jones. They'll probably take that clip out and play it out of context. And then they'll say that as if they're me. And the message is to everybody else, too. You stick your head out, and you stand up, we're going to destroy you like we've done Jones. Well, you haven't destroyed me. We are the zeitgeist in the White House. We are the zeitgeist at the highest levels of intelligence agencies worldwide. We are the channel that the people that actually know what's going on listen to, because it's one of the only places they can tune in and hear something that's akin to what they are seeing day to day and what they are witnessing. So when I tell you this, I'm not bragging. We're on the knife's edge of total victory or total defeat. The country and the world is not on that knife's edge at this point. We've moved back from the knife's edge, facing AI and other things down the road. We'll be back on the knife's edge again at those critical junctures and crossroads. But InfoWars, because of the tremendous power and the tremendous focus and the tremendous understanding of the system and the nexus point, is under attack. And by the way, it's not safe to have this much influence even in the halls of the good guys, because there's really sinister arguments down the road that gets into very complex political calculus. But you see, I don't engage in complex political calculus. I engage in the most sophisticated forms of information warfare, which means go with the truth, go with your gut, let it all hang out, and let the chips fall where it is and just tell it like it is and move forward. Because it's that innate, gut-level instinct, reaction, also backed with research, that is the deepest pools of knowledge. Just as Trump said, the deepest thing he ever learned was to be shallow. To stop self-checking and guessing and wondering and holding back and ignoring his gut. That when he started going with his gut, it was the deepest thing in his life. Exactly. Because it's not shallow. It's your giant subconscious, hundreds of times more powerful than your conscience, all of your instincts, all of your ancestors, all of it, telling you what's really going on. So they try to bombard you with fake stuff and fake news and fake entertainment to program your subconscious with all these dramas and shows and, you know, the new X-Files character and the new, I mean, every new drama movie, science fiction movie, Orange is the New Black, they've got characters or people they've chosen that are an Alex Jones, who then say all this crazy stuff and then turns out not to be true. So that's a full-on inoculation. So I've been chosen in the deck of cards to be the person that they try to destroy. And if they can destroy me, they believe they can destroy you. Now, there was a real shot across the bow to this when Chris Carter said, no, I like Alex Jones. He's not a racist. He's a good guy. I'm going to put out a positive portrayal of Alex Jones in the last season and the rest of it. And so, again, you have to understand, it's not about us talking about why they're just talk about me all day. It's about why are they doing it? Because they intend to destroy me. And in that, destroy a card from the deck, which if they knew anything, they ought to know they can't even do. We'll be right back. So the globalist establishment's collapsing worldwide. The Democrats start threatening Republicans on television that you better not release the memo that Trump says he's 100% going to release. Said that at the end of the State of the Union last night when he was leaving. We've played the video several times. It's on Infowars.com. And they keep saying, you do this, there's going to be massacres. Well, we already know the Democrats have tried to massacre the Republican leadership of patriots while they were playing baseball. We've seen all the other attacks and bizarre behavior, and Rand Paul getting attacked. I mean, take hours to go over all of it. So Kit Daniels has posted an article, GOP train crash. Was deep state warning Republicans to jump off the train, the Trump train? Was GOP train crash completely accidental, or does circumstantial evidence point to something else? And that's a great headline, Kit, but I would add somewhere in here what you have in the article. In 2016, Popular Science reported that train systems were vulnerable to hacking. Yeah, after highlighting a study by German cybersecurity researchers who warned that train warning signals could be compromised to cause accidents. Absolutely. And again, what you do is you kill the driver with a fast-acting drug that dissipates out of the bloodstream. You drive up, you park it, you turn the signals off, or you remote control the vehicle into the train. But they're now saying it was stalled on the tracks. Again, this is all real. This has been declassified. In fact, it's in the Vault 7 documents and Vault 8 documents about hijacking cars to kill people. I mean, they've got Hollywood movies like Syriana about true stories where I want you to get him, I want you to kill him, I want you to put him in the front of a car, and I want you to ram it with a dump truck. I mean, that's what you do. That's how you kill people, is in fake auto accidents. That's the #1 way to do it if you don't want a big investigation. Another big thing they do is they'll hit your car pretty hard. And they'll usually hire an illegal alien. People get paid to do this, to ride in the car when it happens, but they'll have a bigger car. they'll ram the car. The person isn't dead. The illegal's told to flee the scene. It's usually rural areas. Another car pulls up, kill the person. That's what they would with Diana. She was alive, and finally they put her in the back of the ambulance. And then they get you, they shoot you up, and then you're off to the races right there. And then police show up, you're dead in the car. There's been famous cases of husbands. I saw one on Unsolved Mysteries. I'm kind of nostalgic, so I'm watching that series with my son sometimes. And he knocks her off the horse. Then he gives her this horse tranquilizer, kills her, beats her head in the rocks to make it look like she fell off the horse. They exhume her body, find the drugs, bust him because they found he was a con artist. I mean, there have been thousands of cases in America of men doing this to their wives, okay? So don't tell me we shouldn't look at this. This is how this is done. And the media will spin it and say, Jones says the dump truck driver did it. And then they'll put the family on TV. It's how they work. And it won't matter what I really said. They'll just say that. Jones is the one that said the dump truck driver did it. No, I'm saying they could remote control it and then have him run onto the tracks, or they could kill him, put him in the vehicle, remote control it up there, or kill him, drive it up on the tracks themselves, get off and leave. I mean, look at the train they just hit. It's a total message. I'm ranting, and I've got so much other news to get to. And see why I'm mad about the train? Not just the dead person and the 20-something, 30-something injured Republican leadership as a message. It distracts everything from the huge State of the Union and the big issues that were there and what was really said. It's now the big story because it's the Republican leadership hit by a garbage truck. Hit by a dump truck, garbage truck. It's both. A dump truck is a garbage truck. It's just a dump truck that carries garbage. A trash truck is still a dump truck by any other name. A rose is still a rose. So there's the headline. Was GOP train targeted by cyber attack? 2016 Popular Science report that train systems are vulnerable to cyber attacks. Again, because the train would know this track, we've got the report, does have the sensors. Oh, but he didn't slow down. Isn't that interesting? Do you believe any of this? Come on, folks. Okay, here's the toll-free number to join us, 877-789-ALEX, 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 877-789-2539. And by the way, if you disagree, you go to the head of the line if you're a liberal or Democrat or someone that really doesn't like the president. That doesn't mean you call in just because you want to say I'm a Bill Hicks or something stupid, and then you go to the head of the lines. People cheat on the call screening. We don't really screen your calls, but sometimes I do. I say, hey, I want these topics, and hey, I want to discuss what do you think of the State of the Union? What do you think of the crazy Democrat response? What was the craziest Democrat response? I mean, they went completely nuts. They're crazier than I thought. Don't they even get how this looks? Why can't they control themselves? Because lying and sneaking didn't work. Now they're showing us who they are, accelerating their political destruction. So what was the craziest Democrat thing? Did you like Bernie Sanders' response? Didn't even work. Of course, he's a socialist. 90% of it was cut out. And now the socialist communist response doesn't work. And the Democrat response was spit all over his mouth, all this craziness. And then what Trump really said versus how the media spun it. 877-789-ALEX. 877-789-2539. And your phone calls are coming up. And then the whole next fourth hour I'm hosting, I'm going to play clip after clip of the president right into the war room and the rest of it. But I'm going to play some of that, too, after we go to some of your phone calls. But this is a day to long remember in a big way. Listen, I'm not going to belabor this. People are excited about it. It's selling out. That's great. But we don't make a ton of money on it, so we need to sell a lot of it. I was going to come out with DNA Force Plus with Dr. Group, who we've worked on with this, with the CoQ10, the BioPQQ, and so many other key compounds for optimal absorption. It's known to help the telomeres not shorten as fast. It's done for cell regrowth, hundreds of studies, totally backing just the BioPQQ alone. And this is a huge dose of it. Most of it's synthetic, and they're still $50 for a tiny little bottle of little bitty pills that you don't even absorb. Well, this is $70 now, even though when I was doing DNA Force, it was costing us $45 to $60 because it varied each batch what the stuff was in the market. That's how good this is. Well, we were able to, with one of the top firms in the country, lower the price that it cost us almost by half. But I didn't want to step on Group's toes, so I said, we'll still have DNA Force. He said, Alex, it's fine. You got with the top company. It's really great. I'm out of it. You're wonderful. We'll keep doing other products. You can come out as DNA Force Plus if you want or whatever. So Cell Force is DNA Force Plus. Just DNA Force Plus isn't out yet. And so Group's so classy. He thought this was such a great formula. He said, listen, I'm glad you can get it for less and, you know, do all this. Do it. Fantastic. He's working on 5 new products for us, by the way. So bioavailable CoQ10, PQQ, and so much more. You want something that's known to be the ultimate antioxidant to supercharge your body, especially anybody over about 25. But it's great for children as well. It's dramatic, though. You know, I chopped my finger off like 10, 12 years ago. They reattached it, and it was still numb down one side and on the front. And I took DNA Force, now Cell Force. I took it for a couple months, and, you know, we've never had this happen before, and I'm not saying it's a conspiracy, but they built back doors into everything. They've given the Democratic Party and people like Reality Winner keys and back doors to all the major computer systems for COG, for continuity of government. But you can use anything like that to bring everything down. It's like the Snowden film that was advised by the former technical head of the NSA, William Binney. That whole operation shows how the computer chips sent out for power plants and hospitals and everything has back doors so the U.S. government can just shut everything down in Japan, in Germany. But they, in turn, sell us chips to do the same thing. I mean, it is just so corrupt, so evil, so dangerous, so bad. And the word is Trump's saying that's all stopping. That's part of the agreements as well. He calls that bureaucracy and backstabbing. So it just shows how crazy it is. We've never had the phone system go down on its own, not the internet. The phone system went down. The phone box crashed at the same time that the computer system that runs the audio for the show. That's why you didn't hear music going out. That's why you didn't hear music coming in. We're having to hand fire it right now off of a backup system. So it's probably just a glitch. But 2 separate systems, not even plugged into each other, at the same minute go down. Imagine when all the driverless cars are in place and the driverless planes and the robots are in charge. What if there's a giant meteor shower and it knocks out the wrong satellites and things go haywire? Just the possibility of malfunctioning, like we keep seeing with these trains, is incredible. So we've relaunched the phone system, specifically your comments on the State of the Union, specifically your comments on what was the craziest thing the Democrats said or did. Maybe you disagree with the president. Maybe you thought something he said was wrong. We'll talk to you as well. 877-789-2539, 877-789-2539, and I hope the phone system doesn't go down again. Only goes down about twice a year. So it's a pretty stable, top-of-the-line system we've got. Okay. That's a great system, too. It can take like 100 phone calls at once. One time, we opened the phones up, and we had 24,000 calls because it can tell you how many hit the deal. I mean, national talk shows are begging for callers. So we've just got so many great callers. So we're going to be going to you guys here in just a few minutes. Because I got cut off by break, I didn't finish up telling you about Cell Force. We could get a better deal with a top lab on the bio-PQQ, the CoQ10, the other compounds, and have it pass California standards, which is nearly impossible, if we went with a big national lab. Well, I developed DNA Force with Dr. Group and my dad, basically off the top stuff that was selling for 3, 4, 5 times at medical clinics, but wasn't prescription. And I said, why is it $400? We can, buy it for $50 and sell it for $100 and, fund our operation and undercut the whole market, which we've done. Well, then we were able to get it for even less. So now I guess the retail won't be $149. I guess it'll start being like, $100, and then we can discount it for $60 or $70. So this is DNA Force Plus will be the name when it comes out, but it's called Cell Force right now because I didn't want to do that to Group. And the reason I'm telling this long, convoluted story is that's how I'm explaining it. Is that Cell Force is really DNA Force Plus, and I was developing that with Group, but he said, there's no way I can do this at this price. You've done a great job. It's a great formula. Just take the product over yourself. So that's what we're doing. Cellforce is a limited run. When it's gone, it'll be discounted usually at about $80, $90, which is an incredible deal for this. I mean, let me tell you something. They don't put $30, $40 a product in something and then you know, sell it for $100. I mean, we were putting $55, $60 depending on the run in it and discounting it like $80. And the accountant's going, man, this is why you can't fund your operation. You're bringing in a ton of money, but most of it's in the cost of the product. So, yeah, millions of dollars come in, but 90% of it or 80% of it is the cost of the product. You got to stop it. So here's an example. We sell colloidal silver when it's on sale for $14.95, usually $20. The same stuff sold for $25 at Whole Foods. It's the highest quality, 30 parts per million. When we discount it, a super sale, it's $9.95. So that's our colloidal silver. It's $19.95 right now, already a great deal. So InfoWarsStore.com, InfoWarsLife.com, or 888-253-3139. We've got Bodies, the new ultimate turmeric form, 400 plus milligrams per caplet. The curcumin reading on it is 95% curcumin. Leading competitors are 3%. That's why it took us years to finally bring you the ultimate turmeric formula, Bodies, whole body support. We're going to change the bottle label later. I got busy and didn't have ultimate turmeric on the bottle. It's going to say that in the next run. But that's what we're out to do, bring you the very best at $29.95. Leading competitors, ladies and gentlemen, aren't as strong, and they're $60. Okay? Now, yeah, our regular retail is $60, but I'm discounting it 50% out of the gates. Our pollen block is 51% off at $17.76. New product as well. Okay, I'm done plugging for now. I just didn't plug any in the first hour. I want to thank you all for your support. Please support our local AM and FM stations. Now, let me recap some of the news of what happened. Then I'm coming back and going to your calls. And then I'm going to get next hour into a bunch of clips we haven't gotten to yet from the powerful State of the Union that the globalist couldn't stand was on air, couldn't stand had record ratings, and he would say something loving and you know, very conciliatory and very unifying, and they would say, oh, he's a horrible racist and all Mexicans are criminals. He didn't say any of that. And shouldn't people be insulted being lied to like that? It's incredible. So here's the big bombshell news we haven't broken yet. It's up on newswars.com. Need to get this out, please, to everybody, because we're in a war. Trump, and I know most of you know that and are sick of hearing it. I'm talking to new listeners that don't get it, okay? That's why I repeat some of the same stuff. I've got 500 articles here, hours of tape. I could talk 5 minutes like other talk show hosts do. They're scared to even be on air. I'm still hitting the millions of new people that tune in each week, so they understand this is a total war. They're totally needed to totally get informed and get involved, or we're going to lose. But I know it's obnoxious even to myself to listen sometimes to rebroadcast because, you know, I kind of repeat some of the same things because it's the truth. And without you, we're nobody. And you see things turning around just as we knew, the hypothesis. If globalism's artificial and designed to make you poor to control you and designed to leverage Western wealth into third world nations to not empower those people, not make them trading partners, but enslave them to control them and then leverage their anger against you to bring you completely down as well so the breakaway civilization can dominate all of us after we get sucked into that whirlpool. We've got to expose the real operation and believe the people are smart enough to understand what's happened so we can turn this around. And 1 year in, baby, it's proven. And in other countries, it's already happening, and it's instant turnarounds. Because human potential is unlimited. We have been artificially, under neo-feudalism, kept in a position of poverty and control and cultural poverty and spiritual poverty by the globalists and their poison Hollywood soul rot. And we're coming out of it. We're breaking out of it, ladies and gentlemen. This is it. This is it. You want to live. You want to be free. We must break out now because we're going to face the AI. We're going to face, even if we're all good people, the technology is going to be so advanced, we're going to kill ourselves with it. We're going to have that Atlantis moment I talk about. So we better get together. We better try to be good. We better get focused, or none of us have a future. I don't care what color you are. Here's the article. Trump reminds lawmakers, you serve America first. Because here's the deal. They're going to serve somebody, like Bob Dylan says. They're going to serve the communist Chinese or the corrupt Vatican or Microsoft. If they don't serve their families and their country and justice. You will have a God. And if you don't say there's a God above you, the state will become a God. That's why so many atheists that we had as founding fathers, some were atheists, most were Christians, or let's just say this, they didn't know, they were scientists. But they said, but we still want a God above the king and the government so that we become a God, and I don't mean that in a satanic way, little g, when we put something above the state, then we say, no, it's up there to reach for, not the state up here as the God, because we know it's not God. All right, let's go right to your phone calls. We're going to go to Jim in California, then Gary, then Josh, then Nathan, then Sam, and so many others. And then the next hour, I'm going to play a ton of the other clips, you name it. But right now, let's go to Jim in California. What is on your mind? What do you think was interesting about the speech last night?
Well, I thought the speech was great. I am very much pro. Not going to fight against you on this. I'd have to say that to start that, I'm sorry and thank you both. I'm sorry because for a long time I thought your foil hat was on too tight until I figured out you weren't lying to me. and thank you because you saved my life with some of that stuff I bought from you. Doctor says my blood is perfect. But well, going back to the speech, huh? Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, last doctor appointment, he said, I don't know what you're doing, but don't stop because your blood is perfect. Lose some weight, you'll live forever. Man, that's all because of the stuff I've been buying from you.
Really? What products have you been using?
Oh, my God. A lot of stuff. Well, the Vitamin Mineral Fusion with some, that one's on auto ship along with the Winter Sun, and because you need lots of vitamin D. DNA Force, I've been doing the red pill lately. Always have some iodine every morning, a couple of drops in my fruit juice drink. Oh, the
X2 alone is just such a game changer. It's made me lazy, though. I mean, I hardly work out anymore, and I weigh less than I did 10 years ago. I mean, it's just what it did to my metabolism, my skin. I used to get sunspots if I got a lot of sun. My sunspots went away. I mean, I had like old person, brown spots because I would fish a lot and hike a lot and, go water skiing and stuff. And it just, thank you so much for your support. But yeah, the X2 really is amazing. What was your take, Jim, on the whole State of the Union?
I was just astounded at how he tells us so many good things that are happening. I've been alive. I'm a little older than you, and I've been alive long enough to see enough presidents who don't keep their word. And he's the first guy who has, and it's so refreshing. And then to see how, the wrong side of the aisle, where I live, is just like it's like they're evil almost, that you can't see the good in this. And you don't even want to support this when it's, my life got better, and for everybody. And
they really are like villains. I used to be a kid and read about villains in books or movies. I thought, that's dumb. That isn't how it is. People just don't do evil stuff when doing good would be better for them. And now that I've grown up and experienced stuff, no. All the villains, the stuff in fairy tales, those are archetypes of just how it is. I mean, I used to read like FBI indictments of criminals and stuff and think, there's no way they did all that. They're just demonizing people to the jury. And then I've experienced stuff in my own life now where people will go out of their way to screw you over even though it hurts them. They just want to hurt people. And that's why those of us that aren't out to get people, we're not perfect. We're just not out to get people. I mean, I think it ought to be Trump 2020. He's not out to get you. I mean, just, not out to get us. And there's so many people, though, that are literally so angry that they just hate everybody and feel good if they see you pulled down. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, and, I'm a Bible reader, and you read that the whole world is lying in the power of the wicked one. And I've always wondered to see how you were going to see that actually come out. And, it's like, he's got to have his fingers, Satan's got to have his fingers in the government somehow. And so you start looking at it going, is that how it's coming out? These people are just these hateful, evil, we want, you're never going to find anything good in a guy who's basically saving you. And
what did you think of 3 different pundits I've got clips of coming out and saying, how dare him talk about family and church? We don't have that anymore. That's bygone. I mean, I mean, families, I told you, they hate families. They want to get rid of them.
All right. The greatest thing Satan ever did was get the majority of the people out there to believe he doesn't exist. And
brother, you said it, and there's something messianic about what's happening here. And I know what it is. We are about to face our real challenges. We're going to look back on this and think, well, this was easy. But it was hard to get to this point. We're going to have more confidence now. But it's because we're going to fight a 100-foot giant. A decade from now, it's going to be 1,000 feet. Then a trillion feet tall. And we're going to really face some times, brother. That's what I'm getting at. God bless you. I appreciate your call. Oh, and I noticed you were also asking on the board, it said, when will the memo be released? The president said he will do it 100%. He has, 7, 8 days to release it from the time. And so that was a couple days ago when they voted. So let me break that down. My sources told me no one's sure yet, but they think Monday. He's going to kind of let the State of the Union thing be there and then build up the memo and release it sometime next week. They think Monday. Just like I was told last week, they're going to vote Monday, and then 5 days later they said, yeah, we're going to vote on Monday. Again, my sources aren't 100% because they don't know, even though they are people in Congress. Here's a clip of the president.
Great speech, President. Let's release the memo. Oh, yeah. Oh, don't worry. 100%. Can you imagine that? Yes, sir. Last year, he'd be too angry. How you doing? How's it going?
So you can see Trump high as a kite, no drugs, just smiling and just... See, I'm not as positive as Trump. I like to fight tyrants and stuff. I know you do as well, but I get too pessimistic just dealing with it. And we've got to make it fun. We got to make it more of a joke. I mean, Trump, I'm so disillusioned with Hollywood. I could care less about it. I'm so disillusioned with all of it. None of it means anything. It really is just family and being a good person and being able to support yourself is what life's all about. But then somebody like Trump comes on the stage, and you know he's under attack. He's going through hell. He's working so hard. His family's working so hard. He's so good. And then they're saying he's so bad because they're that bad. That's what hurts me is I can't believe Pelosi, when they said let's work together, was shaking her head when Trump is trying to give them DACA. And then, again, the right wing says, well, you backed out. You lied. He said Obama's DACA is total legalization of anybody that wants to come here. Calling 40-year-old men kids with criminal records is not happening. A lot of criminals coming across. You can't just legalize. That turns into, I hate all Mexicans are criminals. That's what they said it again last night. And then he's like, no, if you've lived here a long time, aren't a criminal, we're going to make it quicker for you to be a citizen. Absolutely. We want to vet people. We're going to make it easier to be a citizen. You're going to be vetted. You're not going to get brainwashed against the country up front. You're going to at least have a chance to make your own decision about how you want to be politically. And that's what he said in the whole 7-minute breakdown, and it's very reasonable. That turns into Trump hates all the Mexicans. It's not true. That's Univision, owned by big mega banks, owned by kingpins, owned by narcotics traffickers, the New York Times, all of it. They are the greedy enemies. They're the people worth hundreds of billions of dollars. Jeff Bezos, with Warren Buffett and with Bill Gates, want to have a Thomas computer, the same ones that are over the Veterans Affairs till Trump stopped it, with bioethics deciding when to not give you health care and kill you. But CNN has it, the dream team to fix health care, Bezos, Diamond, and Buffett. And I know the whole background of them. They're all pushing eugenics care where they way overcharge everybody. And then if you don't have money, they just kill your ass. And, oh, I said I'd go to your calls. It just makes me go crazy. It's so evil. And there's just got to be a way for people to wake up. These are bad people. I mean, they're bad, 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 bad people. And I know Warren Buffett and all them have this sweet PR operation going about how they're sweet little old men. Let me tell you something. Bill Gates and Warren Buffett and all those guys are deadly dangerous. And they are the ones that run things, okay? And Bezos' dad headed up DARPA. Oh, yeah. Oh, and then he was adopted out. And, oh, and now he runs everything. Give me a break. Have you checked the bloodlines of these guys? You better. Because they're bad news, ladies and gentlemen. They're ultra bad news. They are cunning, 170 IQ psychopaths. So you better look out. And if you're a black person or Hispanic or anybody else, you want to know you need to worry about, it's those guys. Because they got everybody's number and they mean business. I promise, if the water doesn't rise over Bear Creek, I'm going boom, 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 your call's 4th hour. And I can't impress the listeners enough. You are the resistance. If you don't spread the links and the articles and the live feeds and tell folks about the local stations, we will be destroyed. No brag, just fact, because of you, the listeners, you built InfoWars, you made it, the crew made it, you did it. And now we're assembling talk show hosts and other great minds to go at least 20 hours a day live. Not that I just don't want to go up against Coast to Coast AM. That's such a good show and a great host. Not that we even compete with them. But I think we're going to have rebroadcasts and stuff for those 4 hours at night that Coast to Coast is on. But by the end of the year, that means I've only got 11 months now to get it going. I've got to hire all these people and launch this. So I better bring some money in. But let me shut up about that right now. But you think we've been kicking some butt so far. You buy the products. You pray for us. You spread the links. And we'll jam it down old Soros' throat. Get that straight and know it. Because I'm committed to it. And I ran a promo 3 years ago. I said, get ready. We're taking the M4 to the next level. And you're seeing it thanks to you. All right, Josh, Frank, Gary, Tim, Sam, Nathan. Let's go ahead and who disagrees? Josh in Oregon. Let me put you kind of the head of the line because I'd missed that. Go ahead.
Hey, can you hear me, Alex?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess I sort of disagree. What I want to say is, first off, I thought the State of the Union speech, I thought it was great. I'm definitely a conservative libertarian. I'm a big fan of Trump in a lot of ways. One thing I'm a little concerned with, though, is how the immigration situation is being handled. I do know that, or I'm pretty sure, at least, that what he's doing is he's trying to put forward this deal that he knows the Democrats won't take because they're going to put, the having unsecured borders over. Well,
you're a smart guy. He had Conway and others say that. He put forward something that's reasonable, and they went, no, total open borders, you're a Nazi. So there you go.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It just concerns me. I just hate that we're at this point in our country where we have to, bargain about our security, the security of our nation.
No, I hear you. Here's the deal. He's not a dictator, and I don't want the president to be, okay? Because even if he was a great guy, they'd put a dictatorship in, and then they'd assassinate him, and then he'd have some horrible person in. Because you can have, philosopher kings for a while, and the golden era has happened sometimes when you get a good guy. Take Putin. He doesn't have a dictatorship. He's elected. But if he was a dictator, then they remove him. Who knows what happens after that when you get a different dictator. So, one guy dies, you get another. But here's the deal. He's got to compromise. I can't believe he got a bill this good through because you've got those so-called moderate, which means establishment Republicans. If we had a bigger Freedom Caucus in there, we'd have the real trifecta. He doesn't have really all three branches of government right now. The courts are in rebellion against him. The Senate is in rebellion half the time. So, I mean, I'm surprised he's been able to buggy whip this much. What do you think? And listen, there 800,000, 1 million, whatever. There are a bunch of people been here 20, 30 years that aren't citizens that work and have jobs. I say fast-track citizenship for them and then get an education program about America going instead of giving this whole race-baiting narrative the Democrats. I get they want to bring in different demographics, brainwash them, and then have a whole anti-white agenda as the basis of their new political apparatus. We just have to take the high road, and I think checkmate them by explaining that. But you know what? Maybe I'm wrong. What do you think?
No, I totally understand. I mean, in this political climate, it's become so, so toxic because of the mainstream media, because of the sort of establishment culture that is completely against Trump. It's so aligned against him that you have to be very, very careful. You have to sort of play this game where you really got to be careful about everything that's done and said because there's this.
It takes a lot of research to be free and be informed. You're absolutely right. Well, I'll tell you the big secret because it's not a secret now. And I almost don't like it. It's so authoritarian. But Mexico was collapsing into us and was bringing authoritarianism. The CIA, the FBI, the Border Patrol has been in a giant war, and they have just guys that pull guns or whatever. Used to, under Obama, they left MS-13 and stuff alone. They've just been wiping all those guys out. And they've been killing thousands of them. They just took the whole Mexican mafia and everything else and just wiped it out.
Tonight I am calling on Congress to finally close the deadly loopholes that have allowed MS-13 and other criminal gangs to break into our country. We have proposed new legislation that will fix our immigration laws and support our ICE and Border Patrol agents. These are great people. These are great, great people that work so hard in the midst of such danger, so that this can never happen again.
Yeah, the Democrats don't want to stand for that because they know they're to blame. The Democrats don't want to support those victims' families because they know they're partially to blame because of their open border policies.
The United States is a compassionate nation. We are proud that we do more than any other country anywhere in the world to help the needy, the struggling, and the underprivileged all over the world. But as President of the United States, my highest loyalty, my greatest compassion, my constant concern is for America's children, America's struggling workers, and America's forgotten communities. I want our youth to grow up, to achieve great things. I want our poor to have their chance to rise. So tonight, I am extending an open hand to work with members of both parties, Democrats and Republicans, to protect our citizens of every background, color, religion, and creed. My duty and the sacred duty of every elected official in this chamber is to defend Americans, to protect their safety, their families, their communities, and their right to the American dream. Because Americans are dreamers too.
That's right. All those homeless people in California, they're dreamers as well. Those homeless Americans are dreamers as well.
Like a rabid dog. Foam at the mouth because people like you are f***ing pigs. And you're everything that's wrong with America. F***ing pigs. F*** you. F*** InfoWars. F*** your followers. F*** all you Zion pigs. F*** all you racist pigs. F*** all you pieces of shit.
This is a difficult task. Many have spent the last year.
You're sad. You're f***ing sad. Look at you. Look at you, you piece of shit. You can't even tell me the definition of a f***ing word. You uneducated motherfucker. I got a degree in f***ing engineering. I got an
No, you don't.
Right here.
No, you don't. For your kids. That is our story.
Disturbing. And that is a clip of Joe Kennedy III spitting and licking his lips, and then other Democrat goblin creatures, Lord Jabba and Spitman, as he's known, out there screaming at Owen Schroyer and Daria and screaming, "Give me a hot cup of coffee. I'm going to dump it on him." All right, we're going back to your phone calls right now. It's the 4th hour. I'm your host, Alex Jones, coming up the War Room with Owen Schroyer. We do not have Roger Stone with us today because he is going to be addressing the Oxford Union, the Oxford faculty over in Oxford, a coveted historical speaking spot. And whether it's today or tomorrow, we're going to get the HD tape of it. We will air the speech here. You better believe your bottom dollar. We're talking about Trump right now. We're talking about all the crazy stuff that happened. Listen, I know dump trucks get stuck on railroad tracks, but this train with the Speaker of the House and a bunch of Republicans going through that area of Virginia, Charlottesville, And then there's a dump truck stuck, a trash truck stuck on the tracks. Well, the driver, one person killed, another couple are injured, and then a bunch of people injured on the train. I just saw the video earlier. Fox News was showing it. They finally got the dump truck out of the way, and the train is now moving back down the tracks. So this is just crazy. We'll follow it. Again, they can remote control these things. They can turn the sensors off on the tracks. All I'm saying is Democrats keep saying there's going to be blood in the streets and they're going to get the Republican leadership. And they already shot a bunch of people up and almost killed Scalise. So I look at all these things like that. And so I'm not saying it was that. I'm saying it's very suspicious. Okay, let's go ahead. And speaking of the train, go to Gary in Vancouver, Washington. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Alex, can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes. I mean, think of it statistically. If it was a random accident, I mean, for every one dump truck on the road, there's probably, you know, thousands of sedan vehicles, smaller vehicles. And if you wanted to do an accident, take a train off the track, you're going to use a heavy vehicle.
And then it's this train. How many trains run a day, surface trains that aren't subways? It's in the thousands. Thousands of trains running day after the State of the Union, the Republican leadership on a train, and then this happens. It's just, or if it isn't foul play, it's a serious omen. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, just hire a statistician. They could give you a statistical number on the odds of that happening. And my next question is, are there black boxes on these newer vehicles that we can forensically go back in and find out how it actually happened? Because a guy, all he has to do is if he didn't push on that accelerator pedal, but the thing took off on its own, that should be recorded in the black box.
Well, we learned this with Vegas when we now know we were told a lie. It was an Islamic attack. They were having the Saudi Arabian military convention there that week. They used that as the cover to get operatives in. They then used a known Middle Eastern gun runner as their connection to get guns in the country so they could attack and then set him up as a message to Trump. I got that first from the FBI, not the complete story, but him going to the Middle East, being a gun runner, there being more shooters, all that. That was from the hostage rescue team, Patriots. And then it all started coming out later. We got it from Congress. We got it from other sources. And we got it from Zach. By the way, let's call Zach. He said call him in a few weeks. That was a few weeks ago. I know who Zach is. He's been on television before. He's well-known. Intelligence operative in the U.S. Army, now doing other work. And Zach, laid out the whole deal. And later it all came out. So there are thousands and thousands and thousands of trains running a day. I'm not talking about just Amtrak, just total trains running. But this is 2,025 a day. So I was guessing thousands, but crossing collisions and casualties by year. I don't know. These statistics, look at them for yourself. It's very, very rare. Thank you, Gary. Nathan in Tennessee, you're on the air worldwide. Thank you for holding from the volunteer state.
It's an honor to speak with you, Alex, and I want to say God bless you. Thank you for all the work you're doing. And I want to thank Mr. Trump, President Trump, Commander-in-Chief Trump, for everything that he's doing. I enjoyed his speech. To me, there were no bombshells because there was nothing that he did that came to a surprise to me at all. You know, made complete sense to me.
Isn't straight shooting great? I mean, isn't straight shooting good? You know it. You know what to plan on. It's straight shooting.
Exactly, and it made sense to me. And it's just amazing how the other side just does not understand it all. It just does not compute with them at all. It just really illustrates what we're up against.
Because they're a bunch of spoiled, rotten, out-of-control babies. Stay there, because I see you want to talk about lack of veteran talk in the speech. There wasn't a lot of that. There's been action, though. They've doubled the amount of actual surgeries and things vets are getting. They're trying to clean it up. Democratic operatives inside the VA all over won't even hang his picture up, you know? I mean, the president is not Hercules cleaning out the Aegean stables. So George Soros, and then it's Handmaid and Salon, the same folks that tell you pedophilia is okay, says Alex Jones, accident involving train-carrying GOP lawmakers was a kamikaze attack on Republicans. No, I said, was the truck used like a kamikaze? I've been totally clear. Could have been a heart attack. Could have got stuck on the tracks. Could have been the sensors being turned off. Could have been somebody being killed, put in the car, parked on there. I simply talked about how the CIA and others have done this in the past. And I was very clear. But see, they snippet it, just like I knew they would. That's what George Soros does. Let's look at the other article, please. We just track these people. Unhinged Alex Jones claims the deep state wants to nuke D.C. No, that's another one. There was another one from today on there. That's just a whole separate deal. You know, I said in that article that they're going to attack Republicans, go after them, and they could even set a nuke off to take Congress out. I mean, there's no telling. They don't want to give up. There it is. A truck kamikaze rammed it, a cement truck, a big truck, a dump truck. Kamikaze rammed it, and Paul Ryan was on board. There's one dead, a bunch of people injured, but what's the odds of this? And then again, I was going through hypotheticals, and they take it out of context. So that's how they operate. All I know is it needs to be seriously investigated, just like the guy that showed up and shot everybody. Or, you know, they've had truck attacks all over, and they won't say it's Islamists doing it. It's like what happened in New York a few months ago, and that day they're having congressional hearings, and they go, oh, Jones says that, you know, an imam warned of the attack and that it was an Islamic attack. That's fake news. They go, well, don't worry, we censored it. It was an Islamic attack. It was. But that's what they do. And then they'll run around and say, Jones says it was the poor people doing the truck that did it. No, I said the different scenarios of what could go on, from a heart attack to a stalled deal to them killing somebody and putting them in the truck, to remote control, to just our country's falling apart infrastructure-wise. Okay, let's go back to the calls here. Brandon in Arizona, you're on the air. What did you think of the State of the Union?
Hey, Alex, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
It was magic. I mean, my wife and I watched the whole thing. He was straight shooting on every point. We absolutely loved how he would look and turn to the Democrats and wave his hands up in the air like, are you going to stand? Are you going to stand? Are you guys going to finally stand? But I was very impressed. And the reason why I was calling in was one of the things that he said about how all the manufacturing companies are coming back, especially the automobiles that he's got coming back into the States. Do you think that there's any fear? I've called in before kind of talking about the Waymo self-driving cars out here in Arizona. Do you have any fear that, you know, those cars will then just be made by robots and we won't even have an opportunity for jobs?
Well, that's the plan. One of the last decent jobs of really hardworking folks is truck drivers. And they need to know when to be there, when to wait, how to take care of the truck. Humans are amazing. We built this world. They're trying to force everything onto automation. That's their admitted plan. They want to raise insurance rates on human drivers. When we've had disasters with these self-driving cars, and absolutely, I don't like all the incentivization we see for self-driving cars being forced down people's throats. And what I like about what Trump's doing is he's trying to say we're building a world for humans that's built by humans. And so, yes, the future is still human, you know, is a term I've used. We need to make the future human. We need a human future. And so that's the bottom line. What do you think?
No, I completely agree with you. There was just a part where he was saying that there's fearful because, like I said, in the past couple of years out here in Arizona, it's just, you know, one car you see every 2 miles and 4 Waymos driving. Then, you know, 6 of them now. I mean, you constantly everywhere. And David Knight was actually mentioning this morning that, you know, these automobile companies, they don't look at themselves as an automobile company anymore. They look at themselves as a tech company. You know what I mean? So just a fearful.
Well, that's right, because then once you've got a bunch of self-driving cars, you can have them tasked with stealing data, transmitting data, delivering things. And so, yes, there's a major displacement of human commerce. And again, it's an example of lowering quality. I appreciate your call. McDonald's began to put signs up in the 70s saying, thank you, as if you're supposed to throw it away. Then you get a dirty place, low quality. Then there's nobody there to clean things up. Then they got away from full-service gas stations where they check your oil, check things, proving it's better for the vehicle, you name it. They got rid of that. But then you see it the other way. Like, oh, kill people. That'll solve healthcare. No, build up economies. Have more quality, more services. Make things better for humans. That makes the ecosystem economically more complex. And a great example is Alamo Drafthouse, which is run by liberal globalist folks that hate my guts and all the rest of it. And you know, they've got to be too big of a chain, so they've had some of their own issues. And, you know, I call it a Alamo food poisoning house because I personally never get food poisoning. I've had it there 3 times. My kids have gotten it there. I don't even go there anymore because, you know, I'm sorry, it's where I get food poisoning. But I'm not trying to attack their company. They're putting in general, you know, gender neutral place over here in Southeast Austin where everybody goes in the same bathroom. It's not like a bunch of small bathrooms, which I like, that are just anybody goes in, but it's one person at a time. That's great. You know, like the W Hotel, just have like 7 bathrooms. That's wonderful. You know, I'm there by myself. You know, that's great. It's the opposite. They all herd you in to get rid of the gender. So they're little social engineer people. But they started the trend 15, 16, 17 years ago of the little boutique theaters where they had food and drinks and things. They kind of expanded that, rolled it out. And now, just because of them, every other theater chain in Austin tore everything out, went to lounge seats, has food, has drinks outside. They've all gone to it through competition. So that's an example. And then, of course, Alamo got too big and had problems, and I don't know what's going on with them, but I will not eat their food because they're so big and got issues that whatever's happening, let me tell you something, I can eat a dead horse. Okay, that place gives me food poisoning. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I just thought about it. It's happened to me. I can't go there because of it. So I'm going to talk about it now. It's something that's happened to me and my family. We can't go there. But anyways, everybody else is converted to it, so great. They were trailblazers. That's the example of growing too fast, though, being Obama bots. And that's where they are. But that changed everything. So now they got all these movie theaters. I walk in, they're like swanky clubs with marble counters and all this great food like I pick. Great folks up there in North Austin. Food's amazing. Never had an issue. I'm just telling you. And a couple Alamos are close to me. I'd rather go to them. They, you know, they got funny movies and clips, and it's a nice theater. It's just, I had to be honest. See, I've gotten to the point where I just got to be honest with you, and I'm going to tell it like it is. Now, I'm sure there's some other Alamo franchises around the country may be great. The ones that are still owned by the people that started it right here in Austin, Texas, I won't go to. Plus some other issues that went on there, and I'll leave it at that. So, something else. If you want to have your food served to you by an SJW, that's where you go. So, we're going to go to break, come back with your calls. I'm going to play what I think is the most important clip Trump put out. And that is, we will return America to the people. That is so simple, but so fundamental and so earth-shaking to these globalists that it's amazing. So we're going to play that, go back to your calls and more. I'm Alex Jones, Infowars.com/show, and local AM and FM affiliates, TV affiliates, wherever you're watching. Be sure and share those links because that's how we get past the AI censor systems. We're going back to your phone calls here in just a minute. Amazing points the callers are making. And I didn't mean to go off on a jag about the local movie theater chain that changed the whole theater system nationwide. I mean, I think that contribution is amazing. But the Alamo Drafthouse started feeding people and alcohol, and it was already starting to pop off some other chains, but they've gone nationwide like nobody else. And now everybody else is pulling out the old stadium seating and going with quality, and the tickets cost like 50 cents more. And again, it's what you demand quality-wise. And it's the same thing. I can play the clips where Bill Gates goes, if we get rid of one grandma and don't give her that care the last year, we can hire 10 teachers. And what he's saying is get rid of your life force. Get rid of your standing up for each other. Get rid of any of your standards. You can get money if you help us engage in eugenics and extermination. And that isn't right to die. That isn't, man, believe me, I've had family die. I've seen it all. I'm brain dead. I don't want to be kept alive. That's totally separate. They mix right to die with the state euthanizing you. And that's their plan. And that's what they're pushing now. Bezos and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. That's why Buffett's involved. And Jamie Dimon, they're going to save you. Instead, demand more quality, take care of more people, and then that's the civilization you build, is medicine and luxury and travel that no one could ever have. Now almost anybody can have. And the globalists are the ones saying, ooh, that's bad for the earth, austerity. We're going to fly with a plane load of male and female hookers to Davos, but you can't have heating in your house because it's bad for the earth. I mean, these are selfish people. period. And they treat their employees like dirt, especially Bezos. I mean, Bezos is the worst of a crowd of bad guys, man. Super bad news. Super bad news. But he virtue signals all day, see, while he supports TPP and the IMF and the World Bank and has Chinese slave good deals and treats his employees the worst ever and it's slave conditions. But it's okay because his eyes point different directions. She's a fly. One of them kind of goes like this. And he's trendy. And he funds Black Lives Matter. So it's cool. And yeah, Bill Gates' dad admitted that we need to sterilize the black people. And yeah, he headed up Planned Parenthood. And yeah, Bill Gates agreed in a Bill Moyers interview that we need to get rid of the poor people and sterilize them. And yeah, on and on and on. And yeah, he funds Cold Spring Harbor, which is where they created the whole Nazi eugenics operation. And yeah, his family was involved in the Kaiser Wilhelm Institute. That's okay, you know, because he's real liberal. It's sick. And that's the thing. They're the ones brainwashing all the immigrants to hate everybody, to bring everybody down. So a big horde of brainwashed immigrants are dangerous and are racist and are bad in many cases. But it doesn't mean you play into the whole paradigm because that's how these guys win. You've got to learn their scams. It's the only way to stop them. And once you've got the scam down, it's over for these guys. Man, they're uncool. And who's the only black person they let in the meetings is Oprah Winfrey. Does that tell you about these guys? I mean, woo! What a witch. When she's not delivering young women to Harvey Weinstein. Okay, let's go to the most powerful clip because it's simple. You're like, well, of course, but that's what's revolutionary. Family, church, community, workers being strong, honoring people working hard, having a good attitude. No, no, stop, don't do it. No, 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 not that. But the big, do you disagree? I'm going to ask the callers this. We should ask this in the war room coming up. What is the most important thing Trump said? And what do you disagree with? And I'm not trying to prime you to disagree with the president. I'm saying you're welcome. I'd like to hear that because I'm going to tell you what I disagree with the president right now. You know what? Remind me to do it next segment because I'll forget. I'm going to tell you the big thing Trump's doing wrong that is going to end up being his undoing. And I know he's smart. He's got a good spirit. He means well. And maybe I'm wrong, but I just at a gut level know there's one thing he's doing particularly that is going to lead to rack and ruin, potentially. So here is the president saying what I believe was the most integral key thing he said. It's so true, it's so simple, and it's so essential to tell you you're in charge, you're important, you control the destiny, you are your own person. He's activating that in a ritual. All these satanic rituals, they're trying to do bad stuff and like putting it into a ritual. But the ritual of standing up and saying, God, country, family, you have value. We're going to build. We're strong. We're going to celebrate what we've done. We're going to come together. You are going to take control of your destiny. You're going to wake up. See, I don't do all the NLP and all the linguistics and all the programming, but I innately already do it because all of that is copying truth, copying reality, trying to create a synthetic system of lies, what you deliver it where people will buy it because it's packaged as truth. I innately, as a natural, and all of you are naturals if you simply stop trying to be fake. I never won a fight that I tried to win. I won the fights where I didn't think about it. And then every punch, devastation. The few fights where I tried to think it out, got my ass kicked. Whenever I turned loose and just let my body do what needed to be done, ended very quickly. And it's the same thing Trump keeps saying. The deepest thing I ever did was learning to become shallow. That is so zen. And the media made fun of that because they didn't even get it. You think women's intuition is shallow? Because they'll tell you women go off their intuition even more. But the whole system is telling them, don't go with your gut and everything the species gave you to make the right decisions. Don't go with that innate power. Don't go with that. All right, let's go to the president. Here it is.
Sung Ho's story is a testament to the yearning of every human soul to live in freedom. It was that same yearning for freedom that nearly 250 years ago gave birth to a special place called America. It was a small cluster of colonies caught between a great ocean and a vast wilderness. It was home to an incredible people with a revolutionary idea that they could rule themselves, that they could chart their own destiny, and that together they could light up the entire world. That is what our country has always been about. That is what Americans have always stood for, always strived for, and always done. Atop the dome of this Capitol stands the Statue of Freedom. She stands tall and dignified among the monuments to our ancestors who fought and lived and died to protect her. Monuments to Washington and Jefferson and Lincoln and King. Memorials to the heroes of Yorktown and Saratoga. To young Americans who shed their blood on the shores of Normandy and the fields beyond, and others who went down in the waters of the Pacific and the skies all over Asia. And freedom stands tall over one more monument, this one, this Capitol, this living monument. This is the monument to the American people.
It's about America, not about the globalists.
The Dems, oh, they might start standing. Look at that.
A USA chant breaks out, and the Democrats leave. There's Democrats walking out as the USA chant starts.
Hit pause. We'll be right back. You talk about folks showing you who they work for. Democrats walking out of there, man. It's so powerful. Teacher misspells Hillary Clinton's name, leading family to demand apology. To Hill Liar. That's up on Infowars.com from Fox News. I didn't ever get to this, but Washington Post changes headline describing Trump's speech after Twitter outrage. A call for bipartisanship. They put out what the paper was going to be, but their readers got so mad they changed it to a new American moment. Talk about people in an echo chamber. It's just incredible. And we're going to see if lies triumph over truth. The war room's coming up. They're going to get to more of these clips. I should have gotten to more of them. It's such an epic speech. We'll play more tomorrow as well. It's just, imagine if Hillary was up there, what we would be dealing with. It is just insane to see how far these people have gone and what they've done. But finishing it with that Trump clip I was talking about, Trump reminds lawmakers, you serve America first. Here it is.
We're a people whose heroes live not only in the past, but all around us, defending hope, pride, and defending the American way. They work in every trade. They sacrifice to raise a family. They care for our children at home. They defend our flag abroad. And they are strong moms and brave kids. They are firefighters and police officers and border agents, medics and Marines. But above all else, they are Americans. And this capital, this city, this nation belongs entirely to them.
Exactly what I keep saying. If you're an American, it's your country. Now, there's a standing ovation for that. Yeah, crank it back up. That's it. If you want free market and the wealth, it's yours. It's all a big lie by the big foundations and globalists that if you're not white, you don't get to be part of the country. It's pure crap.
Our task is to respect them, to listen to them, to serve them, to protect them, and to always be worthy of them. Americans fill the world with art and music. They push the bounds of science and discovery, and they forever remind us of what we should never, ever forget. The people dreamed this country. The people built this country. And it's the people who are making America great again.
All right, that's good. Let's stop right there. We got to take his speech and do promos for months. I mean, it's just all coffin nails to vampires, high noon to vampires, justice to pedophiles. If you got a business, you didn't build that. Somebody else did that for you. Well, the chicken or the egg, Obama, where'd that come from? When you're paying the taxes and dealing with everything and all the rest of it and running your office when you're sick because there's only 2 or 3 of you. Biggest small business startups in U.S. history since we've been recording statistics. It's all coming back, and they're so pissed. And notice Obama said, you got a business, you didn't build that, somebody else did that for you. What did he just say? Can you back that up 30 seconds? He said, you built America. You are America. You did it. You built it. Unifying you. It's all about individuals with a shared dream, building a collective. Not the Soviet Central Bureau collectivizes you and tells you what to do. No, you just build it, and then you see what is good and what works, and then you all join together, and then that builds it. But people like Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton, they want to run it so bad, and they just get violently angry at your health or your beauty or your strength or your will, and they think you're stupid because you're not like them, always scheming how to screw somebody over. And my biggest wake-up in my life is I thought evil like that was only in certain places. I didn't realize that it's been mass-produced. And there are a lot of losers out there who weren't successful through the normal systems, so they decided to be bad people. Now, before I go back to your calls here, let me tell you the problem with Trump and what wasn't really brought up in his speech. Russia has been taken over by the globalists for 70, 80 years. They've halfway got control of their country again. They're not expanding. They helped us after 9/11. They helped us with ISIS. They did most of the work on the last 4 years. Our military recognized that and worked with them. And they're Christian and conservative and patriotic and pro-human and have programs paying people to have kids and are trying to live. They're not a culture of death. They've been under that for a long time. They kind of hit bottom, so they're coming back up, kind of like we are starting to come back up. And Trump is massing troops on the Russian border. They've doubled what NATO had there. You got the Marine Corps Commandant saying, get ready for war with Russia. You've got all these missiles being moved up and a new Cold War kicking off and all this. And it's Trump trying to look tough on Russia instead of his instinct to have détente and then to get in there, all those Russian resources. There's more than Africa. Good Lord. And Russia's ready. They want the investment. But Western elites don't want Russia to share in the empowerment. They picked China and its corrupt system because it would have one-child policies and it would execute Buddhists and Christians and it would be ruthless and evil. So Rockefeller and others said, we're going to be with you, and went in there when China couldn't even produce toilet paper for half their population to wipe their ass, okay, 30 years ago, and built it up to a bigger economy than us and gave them all our secrets, and now they're breathing down our necks, man. So if Russia gets in our way or tried to do something, I'm not a Russophile, but Russia has been under the same thumb as us. It's natural. China doesn't have any resources except for the people it uses like slaves. Russia's 90% untapped. It's a very simple economic human equation. For the United States, with all its fury and energy and wildness, and then all of Russia's scientific and cultural acumen and resources to work with Russia. And it has been the fear of the globalists from the beginning that something like that would happen. But everybody's pulling out of the New World Order. And Russia helped lead the charge on that, and that's the only Russian collusion there is. And Trump has been pushed by his generals and all these other people into the Russians are ruthless, they're cunning, they're only looking for an advantage. Don't be a fool and show everybody you're tough. And it's a mess. He now lists these so-called oligarchs, anybody that's got money in Russia, and talking about going after hundreds of Russian businessmen and shutting them off, which is a real act of war. And all Putin said was, that's not very friendly. Not, oh, you better watch it, that's an act of war. That's not very friendly. Come on. You know, Russia doesn't teach 5-year-olds how to suck male organs. Russia isn't allowing that crap. And that's Russia's sin, that after being held underwater for 85 years, Russia wants breath. Russia wants to live. And you know what? If we sit there and get played off against Russia, we don't deserve the freedom that we've had because we are idiots. And we should free China and not support that dirtbag communist regime of 1,000 people, 1,000 communist leaders on the Central Committee and on the Politburo that are literally raping 1,300,000,000 people. And with all the whoremonger demons, global. I said I'd go to your calls, and I didn't go to Frank and Patty and Tim and Sam. Can I host a few more segments and have them lined up? They can start their streams over there on the next show and all that, but I'll go into the war room. So I promise to take these calls, or is that too short a notice? And just separately here at the end, because I don't plug stuff like I should, Bodies is the ultimate turmeric formula for my research. Amazing. It's 50% off out of the gate. We got pollen block is also powerful, and it's out of the gates, 51% off. Cell Force is really going to be called DNA Force Plus down the road. More of the high-quality ingredients at a lower price, but I went with Cell Force, the name at first, until I learned that I could still use DNA Force Plus name, because group said, hey, this is a better formula, it is stronger, it is lower price, great job. Call it that. He's a classy guy. And so we're going to call it DNA Force Plus. It's 53% off out of the gates. We're going to sell that off very quickly. It's about to sell out very soon. And then we're going to come out with DNA Force Plus, which is Cell Force. But people like the DNA Force name, so we're going to stick with that. So that's the inside baseball on that. We've also got the Real Red Pill. It takes about a week to kick in. It's the base with all the key compounds that help you develop the hormones your body naturally has. But if you don't have those compounds, your body can't make the hormones in the glands. So it's really powerful. The Real Red Pill. We got the shirt of the month, 20% off. About to sell out of that with the red Won't Tread on Me Snake and the red InfoWars. The yellow is a staple, but the red is a limited edition. Shirt of the month, you get a big discount, and then each month get a new one mailed to you, the new design. So that funds this whole operation. InfoWarsStore.com, InfoWarsLive.com, or 888-253-3139. We're not perfect, but we're trying to be good, and we're not out to get you. Stay with us. The War Room straight ahead with Owen Schroyer and more.
It's also what happens when you listen to the radio host, Alex Jones, who claims that 9/11 and the Oklahoma City bombings were inside jobs. I don't know what happens in somebody's mind or how dark their heart must be to say things like that.
The Russians ran an extensive information war campaign against my campaign to influence voters in the election. And then they began to weaponize them. And they began to have some of their allies within the internet world, like InfoWars, take out pieces and began to say the most outrageous, outlandish, absurd lies you can imagine.
But Trump doesn't challenge these lies. He actually went on Jones's show and said, "Your reputation is amazing. I will not let you down."
Waging war on corruption. It's Alex Jones coming to you live from the front lines of the InfoWar.
I'm so excited. The new product at InfoWarsLife.com in a glass bottle, 2-month servings, filled to the brim, filled to the absolute top, the Real Red Pill. This is a heart and brain pill, a nootropic that doesn't have any stimulants in it. But boy, does it stimulate, because it's beyond that. Quite frankly, I just went off what I saw medical doctors prescribing to their patients, but it wasn't prescription, but they were charging people $100, $200 for the formulae. And I came up with our own formula, working with some scientists and developers, non-GMO, made right here in America, 120 capsules. And ladies and gentlemen, you add the pregnenolone to it, which is the precursor to all the hormones that your body has to have to even make the hormones in your glands. It is amazing. Red Pill, now available at InfoWarsStore.com, and your purchase funds the operation.